The ancients understood a principle that has been drowned in the noise of the modern world, a truth so simple yet so profound that it forms the very foundation of reality itself. They knew that the world you perceive, the world of form and circumstance, is but a reflection, a mirror, showing you with perfect, unwavering accuracy the state of the world that exists within you. And nowhere is this reflection more precise, more immediate, than in the flow of what you call money, of what you call wealth. You have been taught to chase it, to hunt it, to earn it, to wrestle for it in a world you believe is defined by scarcity. You have been conditioned to see abundance as a prize to be won, a finite resource for which you must compete. This is the great illusion, a belief that has caused more exhaustion, more anxiety, and more quiet desperation than any other. The truth is, abundance is not a thing to be acquired. It is a current, an energy, a river that flows ceaselessly through the fabric of the universe, and your only task is not to chase it, but to align yourself with its course. So I ask you to consider, just for this moment, a different possibility. What if your financial condition was not a measure of your hard work, but a direct report on your energetic state? What if your bank account was merely the final, physical echo of the thoughts you consistently think, the feelings you subconsciously entertain, the deepest beliefs you hold as true? What if wealth was not a testament to what you do, but a flawless testament to who you are being? If you have come here seeking strategies, spreadsheets, or financial plans, you will not find them. We will not speak of such things. This experience is not a map to an external treasure. It is a pilgrimage inward, a journey to the very source of that great river of life. A journey that asks not for your hustle, but for your stillness, not for your ambition, but for your profound, sometimes uncomfortable, honesty. It demands of you the courage to finally face the silent, hidden architecture of your own consciousness, to touch the beliefs that have, for years, perhaps for lifetimes, acted as dams, obstructing the flow that is your birthright. We are not here to learn how to get more. We are here to remember how to become the vessel, the conduit, the very magnet through which the universe expresses its own natural, infinite prosperity. So take a slow, deep breath. Let the clamor of the world fall away. Your true work begins now. Let us begin by dismantling the first and most fundamental illusion, the illusion of money itself. We see it, we touch it, we count it. It dictates where we live, what we eat, how we spend the precious hours of our lives. It appears so solid, so real, so undeniably important. But this solidity is a mirage. We must look deeper, past the paper and the metal and the glowing digits on a screen. We must look at what gives it power in the first place. The soul of money, the lifeblood that animates it, is energy, pure, simple, human energy. It is a vessel for agreement, a symbol of value exchanged, a physical token for the invisible flow of life force. You have been told that you trade your time for money. This is a subtle but profoundly disempowering misunderstanding. If time were the true currency, then every hour would be worth the same. But you know this is not true. An hour of distracted, resentful labor is not the same as an hour of focused, inspired creation. The container is the same 1 hour, but the substance within it, the energy, is worlds apart. You do not trade time, you trade consciousness. You are trading your presence, your focus, your attention, the quality and intensity of your awareness in any given moment. You are not on the clock, you are on the energetic grid of life itself. The real transaction, the only transaction that ever truly occurs, is an exchange of being. This is the true currency, the currency of being. Think of it in the simplest terms. The barista who slides a cup of coffee across the counter while their mind is lost in a loop of resentment and boredom is transferring one form of energy. You receive the coffee, but you also subconsciously register the friction, the dissonance. Now, imagine another barista. They perform the exact same action, but they are present. Their movements are intentional. They make eye contact. They offer a genuine smile. The coffee is the same, but the energy transferred with it is of a vastly higher quality. It is an energy of presence, of care, of connection. That is a transaction of wealth, regardless of the price. The artist, lost in their studio, channels a current of pure focus onto a canvas. The entrepreneur, in a moment of quiet clarity, downloads an idea that can reshape an industry. The parent, fully present with their child, offers a quality of attention that is the most valuable nourishment on earth. These are all exchanges of the same currency, the currency of being. Let us use a metaphor that we will return to throughout our journey. Imagine your consciousness, your very state of being, as an electrical generator. It is connected to an infinite source of power, the universe itself. Now, look at the quality of the current it produces. For many, the generator is sputtering. The thoughts of lack, the feelings of self-doubt, the endless inner chatter of worry and complaint, these are like frayed wires, poor connections, and rust on the terminals. They create immense resistance. So you try to generate power. You work hard, you push, you strive, you hustle. You are spinning the wheel of the generator with all your might. But the current that flows out is weak, intermittent. It can barely illuminate a single dim bulb. You feel exhausted at the end of the day, not because the work was so demanding, but because most of your life force was not converted into effective power. It was lost as heat, the heat of friction, of resentment, of internal conflict. You are working against yourself. Now, imagine a different state of being, a state of deep presence, of clear intention, of quiet confidence that comes from knowing your own worth, of gratitude for the energy that flows through you. This is a perfectly wired generator. The connections are clean, solid, and conductive. There is no resistance, no inner static. When you engage with a task, you are fully there. Your focus is a laser. Your intention is unwavering. With the same amount of perceived effort, or often far less, the energy that flows from you is a powerful, steady, high-voltage current. It doesn't just light a dim bulb. It is capable of illuminating a city. This is the state of flow. This is the state of genius. This is the state of true wealth creation. The universe, the marketplace, and life itself do not respond to the hours you suffer. It is not a cosmic law that you must be ground down to be rewarded. The universe responds to the amperage of your energy. Wealth is not a payment for your pain. It is a direct response to your radiance. This is why a single moment of profound clarity can be more valuable than a decade of mindless labor. A flash of insight, born from the stillness between thoughts, arrives on a high-frequency current. An act of service, offered with pure intention and no thought of return, sends out a powerful, coherent signal that the universe must, by its own laws, reflect back to you. The value is not in the action itself, but in the quality of consciousness that informs the action. This is a fundamental shift in understanding. It moves you from being a victim of circumstance to being the master of your own energetic output. So, the question is not, how can I make more money? The question is, how can I raise the quality of my energy? How can I increase the voltage of my own consciousness? You must become a ruthless guardian of your own energetic state. Begin to observe yourself as a third-party witness. As you move through your day, ask yourself, what is the quality of my being right now? When I am performing my job, am I truly here, giving my full presence to the task? Or is 90% of my energy being consumed by an inner monologue of complaint, wishing I were somewhere else? When I am speaking with another person, am I listening with my whole being? Or am I simply waiting for my turn to speak, my mind rehearsing its response? When I am supposedly resting, am I truly at peace? Or is my body still buzzing with the low-grade hum of anxiety, my mind scrolling endlessly through distractions? This is the real work. It is the moment-to-moment practice of returning to presence, of choosing a thought of gratitude over a thought of lack, of breathing deeply and calming your nervous system before you act, of bringing a sense of dignity and purpose to even the most mundane task. You begin to understand that every single moment is a transaction. You are either investing your life force into something that raises your frequency, or you are allowing it to be drained away by distraction, negativity, and unconsciousness. To become a powerful conductor of this universal energy is not about adding something new to yourself. You do not need to get more power. You are already connected to an infinite source. The task is not one of accumulation, but of purification. It is the sacred work of identifying and sealing the leaks that drain your power day after day, moment after moment, without your consent. You feel a sense of lack, not because there is a shortage of abundance in the world, but because your own vital energy, your true and only currency, is seeping away through invisible cracks in your own vessel. You feel drained not because life is demanding, but because you are attempting to fill a bucket that is riddled with holes. The harder you work, the faster it empties. It is a futile and heartbreaking cycle. So, before we can speak of building power, of directing your focus, of manifesting your intentions, we must first become masters of containment. We must be willing to venture into the shadows of our own awareness with compassion and without judgment to find the fractures. For it is only from a vessel that is whole that a powerful current can truly flow. We have established a foundational truth. Your being is the currency, and your consciousness is the vessel through which this currency flows. It is a container for your life force. So, if you feel a persistent sense of lack, if you feel drained and exhausted despite your constant efforts, the first, most logical place to look is not outward at the world. It is not at your job, your boss, or the economy. It is inward, at the structural integrity of your own vessel. A pristine container holds what is put into it. A fractured one cannot. You are not lacking in supply, you are suffering from leakage. These leaks are not mysterious forces. They are common, everyday habits of consciousness that we have been conditioned to accept as normal. They are the silent, invisible drains on your vitality. The four most significant leaks are fear, resentment, judgment, and the pervasive habit of living anywhere but the present moment. These are not passive states. They are active, energy-consuming processes. Think of them as parasitic programs running in the background of your mind's operating system, constantly siphoning your processing power, your vital energy, every second of every day. Let us look first at fear. Fear is the most corrosive of these leaks. It comes in 1,000 masks. The fear of failure, which paralyzes you from taking action. The fear of success, which causes you to sabotage yourself just as you approach your goal. The fear of what others will think, which forces you to live an inauthentic life, wearing a heavy costume that drains your energy. And perhaps the most common of all, the low-grade, constant hum of anxiety, a shapeless fear about the future, about money, about health, about everything and nothing at once. When your system is in a state of fear, it is in a state of emergency. Your body is flooded with cortisol, your muscles are tense, your mind is perpetually scanning for threats, most of which are imagined. It is the energetic equivalent of running a marathon while sitting perfectly still in your chair. The expenditure of power is immense, yet you have gone nowhere. You are bleeding life force into a phantom battle. The second great leak is resentment. Resentment is the act of anchoring your consciousness to a painful past and dragging that heavy, rusted anchor into your beautiful, fresh, present moment. Each time you replay an old hurt, an injustice, a betrayal, you are not punishing the person who wronged you. You are forcing your own being to re-experience the trauma. You are willingly drinking a poison, hoping the other person will feel its effects. The universe does not work this way. When you hold on to resentment, you are opening a wound in your own energetic field and allowing your precious vitality to bleed out into a moment that no longer exists. You are giving your power, your sacred currency of being, away to people and situations that are long gone. It is a leak that is entirely self-inflicted, a voluntary draining of your own power, all for the grim satisfaction of being right about how you were wronged. To hold resentment is to choose to remain a victim, and a victim cannot simultaneously be a powerful creator. The third leak is judgment, both of others and of yourself. Judgment is the energy of separation. When you look at another person and your mind begins its litany of criticism, their choices, their appearance, their beliefs, you are creating a wall of psychic static. You are reinforcing the illusion of separation between you and the wholeness of life. This creates a dissonant frequency in your own field. But the most damaging judgment, the most severe leak, is the one you turn relentlessly upon yourself. It is the voice of the inner critic. The voice that tells you you are not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy, not deserving. This inner voice is a saboteur, living inside your own ship, drilling holes in the floor while you are desperately trying to sail it. Every ounce of energy you spend attacking yourself, belittling yourself, or comparing yourself to others is a direct loss from your reservoir of creative power. It is an internal civil war, and in such a war, there are no winners, only a depleted kingdom. And this leads to the fourth major leak: the refusal to inhabit the present moment. Your power does not exist in yesterday. That is a memory trace, a ghost. Your power does not exist in tomorrow. That is a fantasy, a projection. Your power, your creative force, your true currency exists only in this dimensionless, infinitely powerful point called the now. To live in regret is to leak your energy backward in time, trying to edit a script that has already been filmed. To live in a state of worry is to project your energy forward into a million imagined catastrophes, 99% of which will never come to pass. Both are acts of profound energetic mismanagement. They are a declaration to the universe that this present moment is not enough, that it is flawed, that you must escape it. And the universe, which is a perfect mirror, reflects this back to you as a life that is never quite enough. Picture your mind, your consciousness, as a boat sailing on the vast ocean of life. Your desired destination is a state of peace, fulfillment, and effortless abundance. A pristine vessel, whole and intact, floats high on the water. It moves with grace and purpose, aligned with the winds and the currents. But a vessel with these leaks is heavy and waterlogged. Fear has created 1,000 tiny, weeping cracks along the hull, below the waterline. Resentment is a single, jagged hole torn in the side from a past collision, a hole you refuse to patch because you remain furious with the rock. Judgment is the absurd act of drilling holes in your own boat to prove it is not as seaworthy as someone else's. And constant worry is to be so obsessed with the weather forecast, with imagined storms on the distant horizon, that you fail to notice the cold ocean water rising around your own feet, right here, right now. And what do most of us do? We bail, we work harder, we hustle, we grind, we paddle with frantic desperation, trying to force the sinking boat forward. Bailing is exhausting. You can spend your entire life bailing water out of a leaking boat and call it a strong work ethic. Your friends may praise your resilience, society may applaud your grit, but you will never reach the beautiful shore you dream of. You will simply grow tired, and eventually you will be consumed by the very ocean that was meant to support you. The path to a seaworthy vessel, the path to becoming a powerful container for abundance, is not more effort, but more awareness. It requires you to stop bailing for a moment, to put down the bucket, to be still, even as the water rises. It demands that you have the courage to go down into the dark, damp hull of your own psyche and simply listen. Listen for the sound of dripping water. Look for the source of the leak. This is the real work. It is the work of mindfulness, which allows you to see your thoughts without becoming them. It is the work of forgiveness, which is the act of patching the hole of resentment for your own sake. It is the work of self-compassion, which silences the inner saboteur. It is the work of returning, again and again and again, to the solid ground of the present moment. But as you begin this work of repair, you may find that these individual leaks, the fear, the resentment, the judgment, are all symptoms. They are cracks that appear on the surface, but they often stem from one single, foundational fracture in the very keel of the boat. A deep, primal belief that is so ingrained in the human psyche, we mistake it for reality itself. It is the belief that the ocean on which we sail is, in fact, finite and hostile. It is the pervasive and deeply hypnotic illusion of scarcity. We arrive now at the bedrock, the foundational fracture from which all other leaks of fear, judgment, and resentment spring forth. We have reached the master program, running so silently and pervasively in the background of the collective human consciousness that we mistake its output for reality itself. This is the great illusion of scarcity. It is the quiet, insistent whisper in the back of your mind that says, there is not enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough opportunity, not enough love, not enough of you to go around. This single belief is the source code for a life of struggle. It is the anchor that keeps your energetic vessel tethered to the muddy floor of lack, preventing it from sailing on the high seas of abundance. Look at the universe in which you exist. Does it speak of scarcity? Or does it scream of outrageous, profligate, almost comical abundance? A single oak tree produces tens of thousands of acorns in its lifetime. A single galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars, and there are billions of galaxies. The sun pours out more energy in a single second than humanity has used in its entire history. Nature is a festival of creation. It does not budget. It does not ration. It does not hoard. Its fundamental impulse is to create, to expand, to express, to pour itself forth endlessly and without reservation. Scarcity is not a law of the universe. It is a belief system held within the human mind. This belief is not your personal failing. It is an ancient, inherited software, a survival program designed for a physical world that no longer dictates the terms of your existence. For the early human, whose survival depended on the next hunt or the summer harvest, a consciousness of scarcity was a useful tool. It created the anxiety needed to store food for the long winter. But you are not living in that world. You are a being of consciousness, living in a universe of infinite potential, yet you are still running the ancient, obsolete software of not enough. This program has become the lens through which you view your entire life. And like any lens, it distorts everything you see to match its own prescription. And here is the devastatingly simple secret of creation, the mechanism that keeps you trapped. The universe does not argue with you. It is a perfect, impartial mirror. It has no opinion about your beliefs. Its only function is to reflect them back to you with flawless precision. If you broadcast the frequency of not enough, born from a deep, unquestioned belief in scarcity, the universe has no choice but to orchestrate a reality that perfectly matches your signal. The opportunities will seem to dry up. The money will always be just out of reach. People will seem guarded and withholding. The world is not doing this to you. The world is simply showing you the truth of your own inner state. It is giving you physical proof of what you have already decided is true. You believe in lack, so you experience lack. The experience then reinforces the belief, creating a closed, self-perpetuating loop of misery. This is not a punishment. It is a law, as impersonal and as reliable as gravity. To truly grasp this, let us use an image. Imagine you are standing in the middle of a vast, warm, calm, life-giving ocean. This ocean is the infinite, boundless abundance of the universe. It is the source of all things. It stretches beyond every horizon, and its depths are immeasurable. It is all that is, but in your hands, you are desperately, white-knuckle clutching a small, chipped porcelain cup. This tiny cup represents your ego, your sense of a separate self, and all of its inherited, limiting beliefs. You stare intently into this cup. You see that the water inside only comes up halfway, and from this observation, standing knee-deep in an infinite ocean, you declare with absolute certainty, "I am thirsty. There is not enough water." And so, your entire life becomes a frantic, anxious struggle centered around the contents of this little cup. You run around trying to catch raindrops to add a few precious drops. You engage in complex negotiations with other people, also clutching their own cups, trying to bargain for a little of their water. You guard your cup jealously, terrified of spilling it, terrified that someone might take it from you. Your mood rises and falls with the water level in the cup. You complain about the lack of rain. You worry constantly about running out, and you burn with resentment toward those whose cups seem fuller than yours. Your entire reality, your entire emotional life, from your greatest joys to your deepest fears, is defined by the contents of this ridiculously small cup. All the while, the infinite, nourishing ocean is lapping at your knees. The solution to your thirst, to your lack, to your struggle, is not to find a more clever way to fill your cup. The solution is not to work harder to catch more rain. The solution is to have the profound courage to simply put the cup down, to open your hands, to look up, and then to look down, to realize that you are not a separate being, defined by a cup, who must get water from an external source. You are an inseparable part of the ocean itself, experiencing a brief moment of individual awareness. You are the water. The moment you truly feel this, the very concept of thirst becomes absurd. You cannot lack that which you are. The scarcity mindset forces you into a state of energetic contraction. You clench, you hoard your energy, your best ideas, your love, your compassion, because you operate from the core belief that they are finite resources that can be depleted. You view life as a zero-sum game. You see another person's success not as an inspiration, but as a direct threat, as if they have taken a slice from a pie that is only so big. You live in a state of psychic defense, always protecting your little cup. To move into an abundance mentality is to learn how to unclench. It is to operate from the knowledge that the pie is infinite. Another person's success does not diminish you. It is evidence of the abundance available to all. It is a signpost for what is possible. From this state of being, you give freely of your energy, your ideas, your support, your love, because you know you are not a cup that can be drained. You are a channel through which the infinite ocean flows. And the nature of a channel is that the more that flows out, the more must flow in to take its place. To break a hypnotic spell of this magnitude, a trance that has held humanity in its grip for millennia, does not require a grand, dramatic, effortful gesture. A grand gesture would be just another frantic attempt to fill the cup. Number. The breaking of this spell begins with a quiet, simple, and truly revolutionary act. It begins with the act of looking away from the perceived emptiness of your cup, and for the first time, turning your full attention to the ocean that is, and always has been, all around you. It begins with the simple, humble acknowledgement of what is already here. This is the first conscious step out of the illusion. It is the beginning of remembering your true nature. This simple, yet profoundly powerful act of seeing what is already present has a name. It is called gratitude. We now speak of gratitude, but let us be exceptionally clear from the outset. We are not speaking of the polite, mechanical thank you that is merely a lubricant for social interaction. We are not speaking of a mental chore, a list of things you feel you should be thankful for, recited with the passion of a grocery list. That is the lifeless shadow of gratitude. We are here to engage with its living substance. We are speaking of gratitude as a palpable state of being, a tangible, resonant frequency, a force of nature as real, as fundamental, and as influential as gravity. It is the tool you will use to break the hardened soil of your own mind. For years, perhaps for your entire life, the ground of your consciousness has been baked hard under the relentless sun of criticism, complaint, and the ceaseless focus on what is missing. The mind of scarcity is a plot of land that is dry, cracked, and infertile. You can have the most miraculous seeds of opportunity, of inspiration, of love, of wealth land upon this ground, but they cannot take root. They will be scorched by the heat of your cynicism or simply blown away by the winds of your doubt. Nothing can grow in a hostile environment. To try and manifest abundance in a mind conditioned by scarcity is like trying to grow a lush garden in the middle of a barren desert. You can pour water on it, but the sand cannot hold it. Your efforts are futile. Gratitude is the act of tilling this soil. It is the sacred plow that breaks up the hard, compacted earth of your negativity. Each moment of genuine, felt gratitude is like turning over a spadeful of earth. It aerates the soil, softens it, allows life back into it, makes it receptive once more. This is not always an easy process at first. The ground of long-held beliefs is hard, but you persist. You do not try to conjure gratitude for $1 million you do not have. That is a form of spiritual bypassing. You start small. You start with what is undeniably, physically present. You start with the simple fact that you are breathing. Right now, your lungs are drawing in air, and your heart is beating, all without any conscious effort from you. It is a staggering, silent miracle. Can you feel a flicker of appreciation for that? Let that flicker be the first turn of the plow. Now, find something else. The feeling of the chair supporting you, the taste of clean water, the existence of color that your eyes can perceive, the warmth of the sun on your skin. Do not just think the thought, I am grateful for the sun. Go deeper. Feel the warmth on your skin. Let the actual physical sensation become the focus of your attention, and within that sensation, Allow the feeling of appreciation to well up inside you. Let it be a wave of warmth that rises in your chest. That is the frequency. That is the energy. It is a feeling, not a thought. This feeling is the water that begins to soften the hard ground. This is a practice, like strengthening a muscle. You do not go to the gym once and become strong for life. You do not practice gratitude for 5 minutes on one Tuesday and permanently transform your reality. You make it the foundation of your new consciousness. You begin your day, before your mind has a chance to engage with its usual litany of worries, by tilling the soil. You find 3 things, however small, for which you can generate the genuine feeling of gratitude. You end your day by washing away the dust of the world with 3 more moments of gratitude. You are fundamentally changing the composition of your mind from a hostile desert into a welcoming garden. And here is why this works on a cosmic level. The universe is a field of energy, and your emotional state is a vibrational broadcast. The frequency of complaint, of lack, of fear, is a low, chaotic, discordant vibration. By the immutable law of attraction, which states that like attracts like, this frequency can only draw to itself experiences which resonate with it. More reasons to complain, more evidence of lack, more situations that provoke fear. You are a tuning fork for misery. And the universe, in its perfect impartiality, simply provides more experiences that match your tone. Gratitude, however, is a high, coherent, harmonious vibration. It is the resonant frequency of receiving. It is the energetic signature of abundance itself. When you are in a genuine state of gratitude, you are, by the laws of consciousness, aligning your personal energy field with the universal energy field of plenty. You are tuning your receiver to the broadcast of wealth, of well-being, of joy. It is not wishful thinking. It is a recalibration of your very essence. You are sending out a clear, powerful signal that says, I see the goodness that is already here. I am open. I am receptive. I am a worthy container for more. This signal goes out into the quantum field, and the field responds by organizing itself around your broadcast, sending you more experiences, people, and circumstances that match the frequency of gratitude. The universe loves gratitude. It is an invitation it cannot refuse. The ultimate practice, the master level of this work, is to learn to be grateful not only for the obvious gifts, but for the challenges. This is not about masochism or pretending to enjoy pain. It is about a profound shift in perspective. It is about trusting that the universe is fundamentally benevolent and is always conspiring for your highest growth. The difficult project that forced you to learn a new skill, the financial loss that taught you what is truly valuable, the heartbreak that cracked your heart open to a depth of compassion you never knew you possessed. When you can look upon your greatest challenges and genuinely say, thank you for the lesson, thank you for the strength I gained, thank you for the person I became because of this, then you have become a true spiritual alchemist. You can turn any leaden experience into energetic gold. Your vessel becomes truly leak-proof, because even the sharp rocks that once tore holes in your hull are now seen as the tools that shaped you. So now, through this consistent practice, the ground of your mind is no longer hard, resistant, and dry. It has become dark, rich, and fertile soil, ready for new life. You have created the perfect, energetic environment for growth. You have sent a clear signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. But a fertile garden, left unattended, will grow whatever seeds happen to blow into it. The weeds of doubt will grow just as easily as the flowers of prosperity. Therefore, the next step in this creative process requires your conscious participation. It is the deliberate, sacred act of choosing which seeds you wish to plant in this newly prepared soil of your mind. This is not about passive hoping or wishing. It is about activating your power as a focused creator. You would not till a garden and then leave it to chance, would you? Number. You would choose your seeds with care, with love, and with a clear vision of the harvest you intend to enjoy. This act of conscious planting, of choosing your desired reality and embedding it into the fertile ground of your grateful mind, is the sacred art of intention. The soil of your mind is now fertile. The hard, compacted ground of scarcity and complaint has been broken and softened by the sacred plow of gratitude. You are standing now in a state of readiness, a state of profound receptivity. The garden is prepared. The next act, therefore, is one of conscious and deliberate creation. It is the act of planting the seed. This seed is your intention. But here, we must pause and draw a line of critical importance in the fertile soil. We must distinguish, with absolute clarity, between the energy of intention and the energy of its needy, anxious cousin, wanting. The modern world encourages you to want, to desire, to crave, to chase. But wanting is a declaration of your own emptiness. It is a loud cry into the universe that screams, "I am not whole, I am incomplete. I need this external thing, this person, this amount of money to fix me and make me worthy." It is an energy born from the very illusion of scarcity we have just dismantled. It is the energy of the small, grasping cup. Because its root is in lack, it is a frequency of lack, and so it often, paradoxically, perpetuates the very lack it seeks to remedy. Wanting is a state of psychic begging. Intention, on the other hand, is born from fullness. It is a calm, clear, sovereign decree that comes not from the ego's sense of deficiency, but from the soul's impulse to create and experience. Intention does not say, "I need." It says, "I choose." It is the quiet, confident voice of the Creator surveying their fertile garden and deciding with peaceful authority, "Here, I will have roses." It is not an emotional plea to an outside power. It is a focused directive issued from the center of your own power. It is not about filling a void. It is about giving form to your own innate wholeness. Let us return to the image of the archer. The mind of wanting is like an amateur archer, frantic and fearful. He stands at the line, his breath shallow, his muscles tense with the fear of missing. His focus is scattered. He glances at the target, then at the other archers, then back at his own trembling hands. He is obsessed with the outcome, with the fear of looking foolish. He shoots arrow after arrow, hoping one will hit the mark. His energy is scattered, weak, and desperate. Now, observe the master archer. He embodies the power of intention. He approaches the line with a calm reverence. His first action is one of stillness. He quiets the chatter of his mind. His breathing becomes deep, slow, and rhythmic. His focus is not on his fear of missing. It is entirely, singularly, on the dead center of the target. For a timeless moment, he and the target become one. There is no separation. He is not trying to hit the target. In his mind, in his feeling, state, the arrow is already resting in the center of the bullseye. This is the state of pure intention, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Then, he draws back the bowstring. Notice where the power comes from. The power is not in the arrow itself. The arrow is merely the vehicle. The power is in the immense tension created by the stillness and strength of the archer holding the bow. Your inner stillness, your quiet confidence born from gratitude, is what draws back the bowstring of creation. The deeper your stillness, the more unshakable your inner peace, the greater the potential power stored in that tension. A frantic, shaky hand cannot draw a bow with any real force. And then comes the release. It is not a violent, effortful push. It is a subtle letting go, a surrender. The master archer simply relaxes his fingers, and the immense power stored in the bow does all the work, launching the arrow with incredible speed and precision. The act of setting a clear intention is this release. You get clear on what you choose to create. You hold that clear vision in your mind. You charge it with the high-frequency feeling of gratitude and the quiet certainty that it is already done. And then, from that place of silent power, you simply let it go. You release it into the quantum field, into the mind of the universe. So how do you, as a conscious creator, practice this? First, you must get clear. A vague intention is a blunt arrow, but clarity does not mean a nitpicking list of demands for the ego. It means clarity of essence and feeling. Instead of a frantic intention for a red sports car, which is a form, you might go deeper to the essence. I choose to experience the feeling of joy, freedom, and exhilarating reliability in my daily travels. This gives the universe the creative freedom to deliver the essence of your intention in a form that might be even more perfect than the one your limited mind could conceive. Second, once you are clear, you must embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the most crucial step. This is where you become a vibrational match for your own creation. Close your eyes. In your imagination, feel what it would feel like for your intention to be a present moment reality. Do not see it as something off in the future that you hope will come. Feel it in your body now. Is the feeling one of profound relief, of unbridled joy, of deep, unshakable peace, of expansive freedom? Whatever the core feeling is, generate it in your body. Let it saturate every cell. Anchor that feeling within you. This feeling is the magnetic signature, the vibrational homing beacon that begins to draw the physical manifestation toward you through the field of infinite possibility. Third, state your intention as a silent, sacred decree. Use powerful present tense language that affirms your creative power. Not I hope to be, but I am. Not I want to attract, but I am a perfect vibrational match for. An intention for abundance could be, I am a joyful conduit for financial prosperity, which flows to me and through me with ease and grace for the good of all. An intention for love could be, I am radiating and receiving pure, unconditional love in all of my relationships. You speak it internally from that place of quiet, all-knowing stillness. It is a secret between you and the universe. The master archer has now done his work. He has focused his mind, unified with his target, drawn the bow with silent strength, and released the arrow with clean precision. The arrow is now in flight. It is imbued with all the power and clarity of his intention. His active part in the launch is complete. He does not run after the arrow, frantically trying to adjust its course in mid-air. He does not scream at it to fly faster or straighter. To do so would be absurd. It would demonstrate a profound lack of faith in his own process and in the laws of aerodynamics. He simply stands still, holds his form, and trusts the arrow's flight. This is often the most challenging, the most advanced part of the creative process for the restless human mind. The arrow of your intention has been released into the vast, intelligent field of consciousness. Your next task, your next great challenge, is one of profound trust and active surrender. It is the delicate and potent practice known as the art of releasing the outcome. The arrow of your intention is in flight. It was released from a place of stillness, clarity, and power. It soars now through the vast, intelligent field of consciousness, seeking out the components necessary to assemble the reality you have chosen. Your active role in its launch is complete, and now you are faced with the most subtle and perhaps most challenging part of the entire creative process. It is the sacred pause, the space between the release and the arrival. It is in this space that you must master the delicate and profoundly powerful practice known as the art of releasing the outcome. The moment you release your intention, a paradoxical impulse arises from the ego mind. It is the impulse to control, to manage, to check on, to worry about the very seed you have just planted. You have just declared your trust in the universe, and now the ego immediately wants to hedge its bets. It wants to know how. It wants to know when. It demands a timeline, a blueprint, a guarantee. This impulse, though it feels like you are being responsible or proactive, is an act of energetic sabotage. It is a vote of no confidence in the creative power you have just invoked. Attachment to a specific outcome, a specific timeline, or a specific method of arrival is an energetic chokehold. It creates a frequency of resistance. Think about the feeling of clinging, of desperately needing something to happen. It is a tense, contracted, anxious energy. It is the frequency of lack. You are in effect sending two contradictory signals into the field. With your intention, you sent a beautiful, clear signal of I am whole, and I choose to experience this. But with your attachment and worry, you are now blasting a loud, chaotic, static-filled signal of I am not whole. I am terrified this won't work. I don't trust the process. The universe, being an impartial mirror, becomes confused by this mixed message. It cannot deliver a coherent reality from an incoherent broadcast. Let us return to our garden. You have tilled the soil with gratitude. You have planted the seed of your intention with focused clarity. The seed is now buried in the dark, fertile earth, beginning its mysterious process of germination. The anxious farmer, The one who operates from scarcity cannot bear the uncertainty. The next day, he goes out to the garden. Is it growing yet? He wonders. He gets down on his knees and carefully digs up the seed to see if it has sprouted roots. Seeing nothing, he sighs with disappointment and reburies it. The next day, consumed by doubt, he digs it up again. He does this day after day. Will his seed ever grow into a mighty plant? Of course not. He is destroying it with his own desperate need for certainty. His attachment to the outcome, his refusal to trust the unseen process, ensures his own failure. This is what you do energetically every time you worry about your intention. Every time you check for evidence with an anxious heart, every time you complain about its absence, you are digging up the seed. You are disrupting the delicate, invisible process of creation that is taking place in the quantum field. So what is the alternative? It is not apathy. It is not forgetting your desire. It is a profound and active trust. It is the wisdom of the master farmer who plants the seed, waters it, ensures it has sunlight, and then walks away, trusting in the laws of nature. He knows the growth is happening in the dark, where he cannot see it. His job is not to monitor the seed. His job is to tend the rest of the garden, to maintain the fertile environment. To release the outcome, you must shift your focus from the future destination to the quality of your present moment journey. Your work is to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled without being attached to its physical appearance. This is the key. You cultivate the inner state of peace, joy, or abundance now, as if your intention were already a reality, and you let the universe handle the logistics. Imagine your life as a great river. Your intention has set the ultimate destination for this river, the vast ocean of fulfillment. The river is the flow of life, the intelligent energy of the universe. It knows the way. It knows the most effortless, efficient path to the sea. Now, the river may need to meander. It may curve around a great mountain of unforeseen challenges. It may slow down into a deep pool of quiet waiting. It may rush through a narrow canyon of intense activity. From your limited vantage point on the riverbank, these detours might look like delays. They might look like the river is lost. But the river is never lost. It is simply following the natural contours of the landscape to find the most graceful path. Your job is not to get in the water and try to push the river forward. That is absurd. Your job is not to yell at the river for meandering. That is futile. Your job is to walk along the riverbank and clear the debris that might obstruct its flow. And what is this debris? It is your doubt. It is your worry. It is your impatience. It is your need to control. Every time you worry, when will I get there? You are throwing a large rock into the river, creating turbulence. Every time you think, this isn't working, you are dragging a fallen tree branch into the current, creating a blockage. Every time you try to force a particular outcome, you are attempting to build a dam and divert the river down a path of your own making, a path that is likely far less efficient than the one the river would have chosen for itself. To release the outcome is to trust the intelligence of the river. Your work is to keep the riverbank clear. Your work is to keep your own energetic field free of the debris of doubt. You do this by consistently returning to the practices we have discussed. You till the soil with gratitude. You maintain a state of inner peace. You trust that the very act of releasing your intention has already set a divine process in motion. How do you know if you have truly released the outcome? The litmus test is your emotional state now. If your happiness is contingent on your intention manifesting, you have not released it. You are still living in a state of lack, believing you need something external to be happy. But if you can cultivate a sense of peace, joy, and wholeness right now, regardless of whether your desire has appeared in physical form, then you have truly let go. You have found the ocean within yourself. And paradoxically, it is from this very state of non-needing, of present moment fulfillment, that your manifestations will rush toward you with astonishing speed. The universe is drawn to the energy of wholeness, not the energy of neediness. This art of release, this profound trust in the river of life, is not a passive act. It is a conscious choice, made moment by moment. It is the choice to trust the unseen over the seen. It is the choice to value your inner peace over your need for control. And it is a choice that is anchored by one single foundational capacity: the ability to find your wealth, your wholeness, and your power, not in the promise of tomorrow, but in the silent, living, breathing reality of this very moment. It is in the stillness of the now that all creative power truly resides. We have spoken of releasing the outcome, of trusting the great river of life to carry your intention to the sea. But this trust cannot be manufactured by thought alone. It requires an anchor so powerful that it can hold your consciousness steady amidst the storms of doubt and the tides of impatience. This anchor is the present moment. It is the only place where you are not a helpless victim of your own mind. It is the only place your power has ever existed. Consider the normal state of human consciousness. It is a pendulum, swinging endlessly and violently between two non-existent realms, the past and the future. The past exists only as a collection of memory traces in your mind, ghosts of moments that are gone forever. You leak your precious life force into this realm through the holes of regret, resentment, and nostalgia. You relive old glories and old wounds, all of which are nothing more than phantom electrical patterns in your brain. The future exists only as a projection of your mind, a fantasy. You pour your energy into this realm through the leaks of anxiety and worry, playing out 1,000 imaginary scenarios, most of them negative. You live in hope of a future salvation or in dread of a future catastrophe. This state of constant mental time travel is what is known as psychological time. It is the prison of the ego. Notice that every single one of the energetic leaks we have discussed, fear, resentment, judgment, can only survive in psychological time. You cannot fear what is happening now. You can only fear what might happen in the next now. You cannot resent what is happening now. You can only resent what did happen in a previous now. The ego cannot survive in the pure light of the present moment. It needs the shadows of the past and future to perpetuate its stories of lack and suffering. Your point of power is not in your mind. It is not in your story. It is not in your plans. Your point of power is now. This is not a poetic idea. It is the literal truth of your existence. Only the now is real. It is the only thing that ever has been, and the only thing that ever will be. Your entire life has been an unbroken series of now moments, and it is from within this timeless, dimensionless point that all true creation springs. The mind, however, will tell you the exact opposite. It will tell you that wealth, peace, and happiness are destinations to be reached in the future after certain conditions have been met. I will be happy when I get the promotion. I will feel wealthy when my bank account reaches a certain number. I will be at peace when this problem is finally solved. This is the ego's greatest deception. It keeps you on a perpetual treadmill of seeking, always striving for a future state that, even if achieved, will quickly be replaced by a new object of desire. It ensures you are always living in a state of becoming and never in a state of being. True prosperity is not a future destination. It is the ability to feel the richness and fullness of life flowing through you right now. It is the realization that this very moment, the one you have been conditioned to overlook as a mere stepping stone to the next moment, is the treasure you have been seeking. Imagine your mind is a gardener, but this gardener is anxious and distracted. He runs to the eastern edge of his garden, wringing his hands over the seeds that failed to sprout last week, lost in the past. Then he sprints over to the western edge, staring at the sky and worrying about a potential frost next month, lost in the future. He is so consumed by his mental projections, by what was and what might be, that he fails to notice the one single magnificent plant growing right at his feet. This plant is alive, it is real, and it is right here, now. But because the gardener's attention is elsewhere, the plant is wilting. It is dying of thirst. The one real thing in his entire garden is being neglected in favor of ghosts and fantasies. That plant is the present moment, and the water it needs is the water of your conscious attention, your presence. The gardener's salvation is not to analyze the past more thoroughly or to plan for the future more meticulously. His salvation is to simply stop running. It is to withdraw his attention from the non-existent realms of past and future and to turn his full awareness to the living reality at his feet. It is to kneel down, to see the plant, to feel its leaves, and to give it the one thing it needs, the water of his presence. When he does this, the plant flourishes. It becomes vibrant and strong. By tending to the now, he creates the healthy foundation from which all future abundance will grow. How do you water this plant? How do you escape the prison of your mind and enter the reality of the now? You do not do it by thinking, you do it by sensing. You use the portals of your own body. Start with your breath. Feel the physical sensation of the air entering your nostrils, cool and fresh. Follow it as it fills your lungs. Feel the slight expansion of your chest and abdomen. Then feel it as it leaves your body, slightly warmer. Do not think about your breath. Simply feel it. The breath is always happening now. It cannot happen yesterday or tomorrow. It is a perfect anchor. Now, bring your awareness inside your body. Can you feel the subtle field of life energy that pervades your hands? A faint tingling, a vibration, a sense of aliveness. You do not need to create it. It is already there. You simply need to place your attention on it. Let your attention explore this inner energy field. That feeling is the feeling of life itself. That feeling is now. This is the wealth of being alive. Listen, what can you hear? Do not label the sounds car, bird, refrigerator, hum. Strip away the mental labels and just listen to the raw data of sound, the vibration, the texture, the cadence. Do the same with sight. Look at an object in front of you and see it as if for the first time, without the filter of language. Just see the color, the shape, the play of light and shadow. These simple practices pull your consciousness out of the noisy, abstract world of thought and ground it in the rich, vibrant, living reality of direct sensory experience. This is where you find true wealth. The feeling of life tingling in your hands is wealth. The peace that descends upon you when you detach from the stream of anxious thoughts is wealth. The ability to see the world with the fresh eyes of a child, unburdened by the stories of the past, is wealth. When you become rich in being, when you find your fulfillment in the simple, profound reality of the now, you cease to broadcast the needy, grasping energy of lack. You become a being of wholeness, and the universe, in its infinite wisdom, rushes to bring outer forms of wealth that match the inner richness you have finally claimed. As you learn to inhabit this space of the now more consistently, something remarkable begins to happen. The loud, frantic, demanding voice of the ego mind, the voice of fear and worry, begins to lose its power. Its volume decreases, like a radio station fading out of range. And in the growing silence, in the stillness you have cultivated, you start to perceive something else. A deeper, quieter, more subtle intelligence. A gentle nudge, an intuitive hit, a knowing without knowing how you know. This is the beginning of a new relationship with life. You are learning to stop shouting your demands and are instead starting to listen. You are learning, at last, how to hear the universe's whisper. In the space created by your presence, a new faculty of perception awakens. It is not a new sense, but an ancient one, long dormant beneath the deafening roar of the analytical mind. This is your intuition. It is the voice of your higher self, the direct line of communication between you and the intelligent, conscious universe. It does not speak in the loud, clanging vocabulary of the ego. It speaks in whispers. It communicates through the subtle language of nudges, synchronicities, and a quiet, unshakable knowing. This is the universe, which is alive and aware, constantly guiding you toward the path of least resistance, toward the most joyful and abundant expression of your life. It speaks to you as a sudden, quiet impulse to turn left on your drive instead of your usual right. It speaks as a spontaneous thought to call an old friend, a call that leads to a life-changing opportunity. It speaks in the form of meaningful coincidences, what some call synchronicities. You are wrestling with a problem, and the precise words you need to hear are spoken by a stranger next to you in line for coffee. You mention a rare, obscure book, and you see it in a shop window an hour later. The rational mind dismisses these events as mere chance. The awakened soul recognizes them as winks from the universe, loving confirmations that you are heard, that you are being guided, that you are in alignment with the flow. The whisper also comes as inspired ideas, the aha moments that seem to descend upon you from nowhere. They do not arrive through a process of logical deduction. They arrive fully formed, often in moments of deep relaxation when the mind's guard is down while you are in the shower, on a long walk in nature, or in the peaceful state just before you fall asleep. These are not your thoughts. They are downloads, answers to questions you may have only subconsciously asked, delivered directly to your consciousness from a higher intelligence. It also speaks directly through your body. A feeling of lightness, expansion, and openness in your chest when contemplating a certain choice is a clear yes. A feeling of contraction, heaviness, and a knot in your stomach is an equally clear no. Your body is a finely tuned, resonant instrument. It cannot lie. The primary obstacle to hearing this subtle guidance is the loud, logical, analytical mind. This mind is a magnificent tool for navigating the material world, but it is a terrible master of your inner life. Its function is to analyze known data from the past in order to predict and control the future. It is inherently skeptical of anything that does not fit its pre-existing patterns. When the gentle whisper of intuition arises, the analytical mind immediately pounces on it like a predator. Is that logical? It demands. Where is the evidence? What is the 5-step plan? That's too risky. We have no prior data on this. That's not how we do things. It will analyze the whisper until its subtle energy is completely dissected and destroyed. Your intuition is a flawless, internal compass. Its needle is perfectly magnetized to the true north of your highest path, your soul's purpose. When you are in a state of inner stillness, the needle points with unwavering accuracy toward the next right step. It may not show you the whole map, but it will always show you where to place your foot next. But anxious thought, worry, overanalysis, and the desperate need for certainty are the energetic equivalent of violently shaking this compass. When you are lost in a storm of mental chatter, demanding an answer, the needle spins wildly. It becomes useless. You look at it for guidance and see only chaotic motion, which creates even more panic. You shake it harder, screaming for a clear direction, but you only make the problem worse. To find your true direction, you do not shake the compass harder. You must do the exact opposite. You must stop. You must hold it steady in your hands. You must shield it from the wind. You must allow the needle the stillness it needs to settle and find its natural orientation. Your daily practice of returning to the now, of feeling your breath and your inner body, is the act of holding the compass steady. It is in the quiet spaces you deliberately create in your day that the needle of your intuition can finally point true. Learning to trust this guidance is a practice. It is the art of building a new relationship with yourself. You do not start by betting your life savings on a quiet hunch. You start small. You honor the small whispers, the nudge to take a different route home from work, the impulse to read a certain article that seems unrelated to your problems, the feeling that you should reach out to someone. Act on these small intuitive hits and then observe the results without attachment. Notice the small synchronicities that follow. Notice the feeling of flow and ease that accompanies these actions. Each time you follow a whisper and it leads to a positive, expansive, or serendipitous outcome, you are building a body of evidence. You are training your rational mind, like a skeptical but intelligent friend, to see that there is another, perfectly valid form of intelligence at play. You are building a bridge of trust between your mind and your soul. You also learn to discern the voice of true intuition from the voice of fear. Intuition is quiet, calm, neutral, and feels expansive. It often comes as a simple, matter-of-fact knowing. Fear is loud, frantic, emotionally charged, and feels contractive. It is almost always accompanied by a chaotic and repetitive story. Learn to distinguish the quality and texture of the voice. As you become more attuned to this inner guidance system, as you learn to hold your compass steady, you will begin to notice something profound. The whispers of the universe do not always command you to do more. They will not always give you a 10-point plan for massive, hustling action. Often, the guidance is far more subtle and far more powerful. It will guide you towards a state of being. It will whisper, rest, be patient, forgive that person, not for them, but for you. Be kinder to yourself. It will guide you to simply hold a certain energy, to embody a certain frequency, knowing that your state of being is the most powerful cause in your reality. You begin to realize that the most powerful action you can take is often an internal one. It is the action of shifting your state of being from one of anxiety to one of peace, from one of resentment to one of forgiveness. And this leads to a revolutionary insight that turns the world's logic on its head. Perhaps you do not need to do anything to earn your abundance. Perhaps the divine guidance is not about striving to become worthy. Perhaps its only message, whispered in 1,000 different ways, is for you to finally stop, to get quiet, and to accept the profound and unconditional worthiness that is already, and has always been, your natural state. The guidance of the universe, the subtle whisper of your intuition, does not push you to strive and struggle. It guides you toward a state of being. It does this because the universe already perceives you as complete, whole, and utterly deserving of all its treasures. The only entity in existence that questions your worthiness is you, and this single, poisonous belief in your own inadequacy is the most powerful, most effective, and most tragic barrier to a life of effortless abundance. It is the invisible cage that keeps you from claiming a kingdom that is already yours. We must examine this belief in unworthiness. From where does it come? It is the central pillar of the ego's operating system and the social conditioning you have received since birth. You were taught a lie, the great transactional lie of worth. It is the logic of if, then. If I get the perfect grades, then I will be worthy of praise. If I achieve the prestigious career, then I will be worthy of respect. If I accumulate enough wealth, then I will be worthy of love and security. If I sacrifice my own needs enough for others, then I will be a worthy person. Life becomes an endless series of hoops to jump through, a perpetual audition for a prize that is never awarded. Because even if you achieve the goal, the ego simply moves the goalposts. The feeling of worthiness remains elusive, always just over the next horizon, after the next achievement. It is a game you cannot win. It is designed that way. Now, let us replace this fraudulent logic with the truth of the cosmos. The universe does not operate on a system of merit-based rewards. It operates on the impersonal laws of energy, frequency, and vibration. The universe does not have a celestial committee that reviews your accomplishments and decides if you are deserving of abundance. A flower does not have to earn the sunlight and the rain. A river does not have to qualify to flow to the ocean. A planet does not have to prove itself to be held in the gentle gravity of its star. They are worthy by virtue of their very existence. Their being is their worth. You are not separate from this. You are not an exception to this universal law. You are a unique, unrepeatable, and sacred expression of life itself. The same awesome intelligence that spins galaxies and blooms flowers is the intelligence that is, at this very moment, beating your heart, digesting your food, and healing a cut on your skin, all without your conscious intervention. To stand in the midst of this incomprehensible miracle and declare yourself unworthy is a profound misunderstanding. It is a form of cosmic blasphemy against your own source. You are a child of the universe, and you have inherited its riches by birthright. Your worth is not in what you do. It is in the simple, miraculous fact that you are. Consider the sun. Does the sun wake up in the morning and wonder if it is worthy enough to shine today? Does it consult a list of its past achievements before emitting light and heat? Does it worry that the planets orbiting it might not deserve its warmth? The idea is utterly absurd. The sun shines because it is the sun. Shining is not what it does. It is what it is. Its being and its function are one and the same. Its radiance is the inevitable consequence of its nature. You, in your essence, are also a sun. Your natural state is to radiate the unique light of your soul, to express, to create, to love, to experience joy. But you have been taught to hide your light under a thick, heavy blanket of unworthiness. You have been convinced that you must first pass some arbitrary, external test before you are granted permission to shine. But there is no one outside of you to grant this permission. You are the only one holding the blanket in place. This feeling of unworthiness is not just a philosophical problem. It is an active, energetic repellent. It is the most powerful blockage to the flow of abundance. When you feel unworthy, you are broadcasting a low, contractive, dissonant frequency into the universe. You are sending out a constant signal that says, I am not a match for goodness. I do not deserve ease. I am not worthy of joy and wealth. And the universe, which is a perfect and impersonal mirror, must reflect this reality back to you. It will orchestrate circumstances that validate your belief in your own unworthiness. Even if, by some fluke, abundance manages to penetrate this repellent field, a person who feels fundamentally unworthy will unconsciously find a way to get rid of it. They will sabotage the success. They will squander the money on frivolous things. They will push away the loving partner because the intimacy feels undeserved and threatening. They will quit the dream job right before a major success. The ego's need to be right is stronger than its desire to be happy. It is more comfortable with the familiar misery of lack than it is with the unfamiliar, terrifying vulnerability of true abundance. So, how do you dismantle this core wound? It is not about standing in front of a mirror and forcing yourself to repeat the words, I am worthy, 1,000 times. The ego is too clever for that. It will simply laugh at you. The healing of this wound is not an act of self-conviction. It is an act of deep recognition. It is about seeing the belief in unworthiness for what it is, a lie, a contagious, inherited program that you have mistaken for your own identity. Look at a newborn child. Is that child required to perform, to achieve, to prove anything in order to be worthy of love, care, nourishment, and shelter? Of course not. Their very existence, their vulnerability, their being, commands it. You were once that child. You arrived here as a being of pure, unblemished worth. At what point on your journey did you decide that your inherent worthiness had expired? At what age did you accept the poisonous idea that it was now conditional? See that belief not as a fundamental truth about you, but as a deep wound that was inflicted upon you by a world that had forgotten its own nature. You begin to heal by practicing the art of receiving. Start small. When someone pays you a compliment, what is your automatic reaction? Do you deflect it, minimize it, or immediately pay one back out of discomfort? Try this instead. Pause. Take a breath. Look the person in the eye and simply say, thank you. Let the energy of their appreciation in. Feel it for a moment without the need to push it away. When someone offers you a small gift, receive it with grace and open joy. You are retraining your nervous system. You are teaching it, on a cellular level, that it is safe to receive goodness. As this heavy, suffocating cloak of unworthiness begins to dissolve, a new lightness enters your being. Your posture changes, your energy field expands. You are no longer operating from a place of deficit, no longer trying to sing for your supper or earn your place in the world. You are simply here, and you understand that your presence is enough. This changes everything. It fundamentally alters your relationship with the universal flow of energy. You are no longer afraid to give freely of your time, your talents, your love, because you know you are not a finite resource, but an open channel to an infinite source. And more importantly, you are no longer afraid to receive freely, joyfully, and without guilt, because you finally know, in the core of your being, that it is your natural birthright. This new, balanced state opens you up to the elegant, effortless rhythm of cosmic exchange. It allows you to participate, at last, in the sacred dance of giving and receiving. Having embraced your inherent worthiness, you stand at the threshold of a new way of being. You are no longer a beggar pleading for scraps from the universe, but a royal child of creation, ready to claim your inheritance. This shift in identity from unworthy to worthy fundamentally alters your relationship with the flow of energy in your life. It allows you, at last, to participate fully in the ceaseless, rhythmic, and joyful circulation of abundance. This is the sacred dance of giving and receiving. The universe is not static. It is a dynamic process of constant exchange. Nothing is hoarded. Energy must circulate to remain vital and alive. A pond that has an inlet but no outlet becomes stagnant, murky, and lifeless. A pond that has an outlet but no inlet will dry up and disappear. A healthy, thriving ecosystem, like a vibrant lake, has a constant, balanced flow of both water coming in and water going out. Your personal energy system is no different. To be a vessel of abundance, you must master the art of both giving and receiving. They are not opposites. They are two inseparable parts of a single, unified motion. Many people, particularly those on a sincere spiritual or self-development path, have been conditioned to believe that it is noble to give and selfish to receive. They become expert givers. They give their time, their energy, their money, their compassion, until they are utterly depleted. They wear their exhaustion like a badge of honor, a testament to their selflessness. But this is not a state of high vibration. It is a state of deep imbalance. It is the path of the martyr, and it inevitably leads to burnout, resentment, and a subtle sense of bitterness, because the universe seems not to be replenishing them, but the universe is not withholding. They have simply closed the valve on their own inflow. They are trying to live by only exhaling. True giving does not come from a sense of duty, or from a desperate attempt to prove your own worthiness. That is a transaction rooted in lack. True, powerful giving comes from a state of fullness. It is the natural overflow of a being who knows they are connected to an infinite source. You give love because you are so full of love, it simply spills out of you. You give support or creativity because it is your joy to express it. It is the sun shining, not because it feels it has to, but because it is its nature to do so. The intention behind the giving is everything. Giving with joy and freedom, with no strings attached, creates a powerful, high-frequency vacuum that the universe rushes to fill. However, the most common and insidious blockage to prosperity for good, kind, and spiritual people is an inability to receive. This is the closed valve. Why do we block the inflow? The reasons are rooted in the ego and its fears. We block receiving because, deep down, we still feel the sting of unworthiness. I don't really deserve this. We block it out of a fear of being indebted. If I accept this, what will they expect from me in return? We block it out of a misguided sense of pride and a desire for control. I don't need anyone's help. I can do it myself. Being the giver can feel like a position of power and control, while receiving can feel vulnerable. Here is a profound shift in perspective that you must integrate. To receive gracefully is a generous act. When you refuse a genuine gift, a heartfelt compliment, or an offer of help, you are not being humble. You are denying the giver the joy and blessing of their own act of giving. You are blocking their flow. You are, in effect, telling them that their gift is not welcome. Imagine offering a beautiful gift to a friend only to have them refuse it. How would you feel? You would feel the energy of your own generosity being rejected. When you learn to receive with an open heart, with genuine gratitude and joy, you complete the sacred circle. You give a gift back to the giver, the gift of allowing their generosity to be fully expressed and received. Furthermore, your manner of receiving sends a direct and powerful signal to the universe. When you receive a payment, a gift, or an opportunity with guilt, discomfort, or a feeling of unworthiness, you are telling the universe, "No more of this, please. This makes me uncomfortable. I am not a match for this." When you receive with open, joyful gratitude, you are shouting a cosmic yes. You are affirming, "Thank you, I am open, I am worthy. I am a willing and grateful participant in the flow of abundance. I welcome more of this into my life." Which signal do you think is more likely to create a life of ever-increasing prosperity? The most perfect metaphor for this sacred dance is the simple, involuntary act of breathing. It is the rhythm of life itself. Giving is the exhale, receiving is the inhale. Let us feel this in our bodies. Try to only exhale. Push all the air out of your lungs. Keep pushing it out. For a few seconds, it might feel like a purifying release, an act of pure giving. But very quickly, your lungs begin to burn, your vision clouds, your body panics for air. You cannot sustain life by only giving. This is the energetic state of burnout. It is the depleted martyr, gasping for life. Now, try the opposite. Take a deep breath in and hold it. Do not exhale. For a moment, it feels good, an accumulation of life force. But soon, the pressure builds. It becomes painful. The air in your lungs becomes stale and toxic. You cannot receive new, fresh oxygen until you let the old air go. This is the state of the hoarder, the miser, who clings to what they have in fear. Their wealth, their energy, their life becomes stagnant and poisonous because nothing is allowed to flow. True vitality, true wealth, true life is found in the rhythmic, effortless, balanced dance between the two. A full, deep inhale, followed by a full, complete exhale. One gives birth to the other in an endless, graceful loop. They are two halves of a single sacred circle. Your financial and energetic life is meant to follow this same rhythm. Money, energy, and love are meant to be inhaled, received with deep, grateful joy, and they are meant to be exhaled, given, spent, circulated with wisdom, purpose, and freedom. Begin to practice this in your daily life. When someone offers you help, resist the automatic, "No, I'm fine." Pause, breathe, and try saying, "Yes, thank you, I'd appreciate that." When you are paid for your work, take a moment to look at the money or the bank transfer, not as a desperate relief, but as the universe's loving inhale, its energetic replenishment for the value you have exhaled. Feel gratitude for your ability to both give your talents and receive this acknowledgement. You are honoring the entire circle. When you master this sacred rhythm of breathing in and breathing out, of receiving and giving, you cease to be a stagnant pond and become a flowing, vibrant river. You understand that energy must be channeled. It must move. For most of us in the modern world, the most significant and consistent channel through which we pour our energy into the world and through which we receive the world's energy in return is our work. But what happens if that primary channel is clogged with resentment, boredom, or a sense of misalignment? To truly live in this sacred flow, we must transform our perception of work itself, seeing it not as a chore to be endured for a paycheck, but as a primary opportunity for divine exchange. We must learn to see your work as a sacred channel. You stand now in a state of balanced flow, understanding the sacred rhythm of giving and receiving. You have embraced your worthiness, and your vessel is whole. Now, this energy, this currency of being, must have a primary channel through which to move. For most people in the world, the most significant and time-consuming channel for this energetic exchange is their work. Yet, for so many, this primary channel is a place of deep resentment, boredom, and drudgery. It is seen as a curse, a necessary evil, a transaction of selling precious hours of life for the means to survive. This perspective makes the channel a constricted pipe, clogged with the low-frequency energies of resistance and complaint, preventing any real flow of joy or abundance. We are here to shatter this illusion. We are here to reclaim your work, whatever it may be, from the realm of obligation and elevate it to its true place as a sacred channel for your soul's expression. The fundamental error in the common perception of work is the belief that you work to get something, a paycheck, security, approval. This is working from the outside in. The sacred path is to understand that you work to give something, to pour your unique energy, your presence, your consciousness into the world. This is working from the inside out. When you make this shift, the paycheck ceases to be the goal and becomes the natural, inevitable, and effortless consequence of the value you have joyfully given. So, how do you transform your work into this sacred channel, regardless of the tasks involved? It is done by consciously infusing your actions with 3 cascading levels of energy: presence, excellence, and love. The first and most foundational is presence. Whatever you are doing, bring the totality of your attention to it. If you are writing an email, feel the sensation of your fingers on the keyboard. Focus solely on the words as they appear on the screen. Do not simultaneously be thinking about your next meeting, your argument from this morning, or what you will have for dinner. Simply be there with the email. If you are a barista making coffee, feel the weight of the portafilter in your hand. Smell the aroma of the ground beans. Watch the rich creamer as it pours. By bringing your full, non-judgmental awareness to the task at hand, you transform it from a mindless chore into a moving meditation. You are infusing the action with the high-frequency energy of pure consciousness. This act alone begins to unclog the channel. The second level is excellence. This has nothing to do with seeking external praise or promotion. This is a private commitment you make to yourself. It is the desire to bring the highest quality you are capable of to the task, simply for the inner satisfaction of a job well done. It is a profound form of self-respect. Whether you are building a bridge or sweeping a floor, you can choose to do it with an air of precision, care, and dignity. This commitment to excellence sharpens your focus and hones your skills. It sends a message to yourself and to the universe that you value your own energy and the way you express it in the world. You are no longer just getting through the day, you are engaged in an act of mastery. The third and highest level is love, which can also be understood as service. This is the act of consciously connecting your work, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, to the well-being of another human being or to the functioning of the whole. The person coding a piece of software is not just typing characters, they are creating a tool that could save someone hours of frustration. The person cleaning a hospital room is not just wiping surfaces, they are contributing to an environment of healing, protecting the vulnerable from infection. The accountant is not just crunching numbers, they are bringing order and peace of mind to a client. When you can find the thread that connects your daily tasks to the heart of service, your work is no longer work. It becomes your offering. It becomes a prayer in motion. Consider the master carpenter. An ordinary worker might assemble a table as quickly as possible, his mind on the clock, his energy, one of resentful obligation. The table he produces is functional, but it is energetically dead. It is merely an object. The master carpenter, however, approaches his work as a sacred art. He selects the wood with reverence, honoring the life of the tree from which it came. As he works, his focus is absolute. He is in a state of pure presence. His cuts are precise, his joints are perfect, not because a supervisor is watching, but because he has a deep respect for his craft. This is excellence. And as he sands the wood smooth, he imagines the family that will gather around this table. He imagines their meals, their laughter, their conversations. He pours his love and his intention for their well-being into the very grain of the wood. This is service. The table he creates is not just an object. It is imbued with a palpable energy. It has a soul. It radiates the presence, the integrity, and the love of its creator. When people see this table, they feel its quality. They are drawn to it. They are happy to exchange their energy, in the form of money, for it. The carpenter did not build the table in order to get money. He built the table as an act of love and creation, and the money arrived as a natural echo, an energetic applause for the immense value he poured into the world. This is the model for sacred work. You do not work for money. You work to pour your presence, excellence, and love into the world. Money is simply the applause. It is the physical evidence of the value and energy that you have given. It is the universe's way of saying, thank you, well done. Here is the energy you need to replenish yourself so you can continue your beautiful work. I invite you now to look at your current work through these new eyes. Whatever it is you do, can you find moments to be more present? Can you find one small area where you can bring a higher standard of excellence just for you? Can you trace the line from your daily tasks to the person who is ultimately served by them? This is not about pretending to love a job that you hate. This is about taking back your power within your circumstances. It is about using your current job as a spiritual gymnasium, a training ground for mastering your own energetic output. You stop waiting for your work to give you meaning, and you start the sacred practice of bringing meaning to your work. By bringing this new consciousness to your daily tasks, you begin to fundamentally raise your own vibrational frequency. You become a master of your own energy, no longer dependent on external conditions for your state of being. And from this higher, more powerful state, one of two things will inevitably happen. Either your current work environment will miraculously transform around you to match your new frequency. Difficult relationships will soften. New opportunities will appear within the company. Your value will be recognized in surprising ways. Or the vibrational mismatch between your new, high-frequency self and the old, low-frequency environment will become so great that the universe will have no choice but to gracefully move you. It will open a door to a new path, a new opportunity that is a far better reflection of who you have become. But what do you do in that uncomfortable in-between phase? How do you handle the state of being planted in soil that you know is not right for you, while you wait for the new garden to appear? This requires a particular kind of grace and wisdom. It is the subtle art of blooming where you are planted. This brings us to a place of profound and practical challenge. It is one thing to speak of work as a sacred channel when you are aligned with your passion. It is another entirely when you feel stuck, misaligned, trapped in a job or situation that feels like it is draining the very life from you. What do you do then? What is the sacred path when your daily environment feels like a prison, not a playground? This is where the most subtle and powerful spiritual work is done. This is the practice of blooming where you are planted. Let us first acknowledge the reality of your feeling. To be in a situation that is not in harmony with your soul is painful. It creates a constant, low-grade friction, a feeling of swimming against the current. Every day can feel like you are pushing an immense boulder uphill, only to have it roll back down during the night. The energy of this state is one of resistance. I shouldn't be here. This is wrong. I hate this. This resistance, while completely understandable, is the very anchor that keeps you chained to the situation you despise. There is a fundamental law of consciousness. What you resist persists. The energy of resistance is a powerful form of attention. By constantly focusing on how much you dislike your job, on the injustice of your situation, on the flaws of your colleagues, you are feeding the situation your precious life force. You are wrapped in an energetic struggle with it, and this struggle binds you to it. You are, in effect, screaming to the universe, "This horrible thing is the most important and dominant energy in my life." And the universe, as a perfect mirror, must say, "Okay," and keep reflecting that reality back to you. Your resistance, intended to push the situation away, ironically glues it to you. The path to freedom, therefore, is a radical one that defies all conventional logic. It is not to push harder, it is to stop pushing entirely. The path is one of profound acceptance. Now, we must be very clear. Acceptance is not resignation. It is not a passive, defeated declaration that, "This is my miserable lot in life forever." That is a state of victimhood. True acceptance is an active, courageous, and deeply strategic state of being. It is the simple, non-judgmental acknowledgement of what is, right now, in this moment. It is to look at your situation and say, "This is my reality for this day. I will stop fighting it. I will drop the rope in this tug of war." The moment you drop the rope, the struggle ceases, and in that cessation of struggle, you reclaim a vast amount of energy that was being wasted in the futile battle. This reclaimed energy is now available for creation. This is the secret of the lotus flower, the most profound metaphor for this practice. The lotus seed finds itself in the mud. The environment is dark, murky, and seemingly unpleasant. It is not the ideal place for a beautiful flower. A seed that resists its environment, that complains about the darkness and the filth, will never germinate. It will rot in its own negativity. But the wise lotus seed does not resist the mud. It accepts its environment completely. Then it does something miraculous. It begins to use the mud. It draws nourishment from the very substance that would appear to be an obstacle. It alchemizes the messy, difficult, unpleasant components of its environment into the very fuel it needs to grow. It then begins its journey, pushing upward through the murky water, away from the darkness of the mud, but not in resistance to it. It moves toward the light it intuitively knows is there. Finally, it breaks the surface of the water and unfurls its petals into a flower of breathtaking purity and beauty, completely unstained by the mud from which it came. In fact, its beauty is all the more profound because of the journey it has taken. You must become this lotus. Your current job, your current difficult situation, is your mud. It contains, hidden within it, the precise nutrients you need for the next stage of your evolution. Instead of resisting it, accept it as your temporary soil. Then ask a new set of questions. Instead of, "Why is this so terrible?" ask, "What is this situation teaching me? What strength is it forcing me to develop? Is it teaching you patience, resilience, the ability to hold your center in a chaotic environment, the importance of setting clear boundaries? Is it showing you with absolute clarity what you don't want, so you can get crystal clear on what you do want?" Every frustration contains a nutrient. Your task is to extract it. Then you perform your duties not for your boss, not for the company, but as a sacred practice of self-respect. You bring presence to your tasks, as we have discussed. You infuse your actions with excellence. You do this for you. You are not working for them anymore. You are using their environment as your private spiritual gymnasium. You are honoring your own spirit by refusing to radiate a low-frequency, resentful energy, no matter the external circumstances. You are choosing to bloom not because the garden is perfect, but because blooming is your nature. When you adopt this consciousness, something miraculous happens. You change your energy within the situation. You are no longer an energetic match for the frustration, the gossip, the negativity that may surround you. And because the universe must always match your frequency, the external situation must begin to change. The law requires it. You are no longer feeding the problem with your resistance. You are feeding your own growth with your acceptance. The very people and situations that used to drain you will either begin to transform in your presence, or they will naturally fall away. Your new, high-frequency energy will become repellent to the old, low-frequency dynamics, and the door will open. A new opportunity, a new path, a new job that is a perfect match for the person you have become through this practice will appear. It cannot fail to do so. But you cannot graduate to the next level until you have fully learned the lessons and passed the tests of your current one. The universe needs to see that you can be trusted to maintain a high state of being regardless of your environment before it can deliver you to a new environment. This practice of blooming where you are planted is a profound act of internal alchemy. You are cleaning your own energetic house, room by room, even while the world outside seems messy and chaotic. As your inner world becomes more orderly, more spacious, and more filled with light, you will feel a natural, intuitive impulse to create this same sense of order in your outer world. You begin to realize that your physical surroundings, your desk, your home, your karari, not separate from your inner state. They are a direct extension of your mind, a mirror of your energetic condition. To support and accelerate this powerful inner transformation, you must now turn your attention to the silent messages and the potent influence of the energy of your environment. And so, you have floated on the river. You have learned the profound strength in surrender, the quiet power in letting go of the oars and allowing the current of existence to guide you. But a question may arise in the stillness, a whisper from the part of you that is used to striving, to building, to acting. It asks, does surrender mean I do nothing? Do I simply become a passive observer, waiting for life to deliver its destiny to my shore? This is a beautiful question. It is the threshold between one state of being and the next. The answer is no. Surrender is not the end of action. It is the end of frantic, fear-based action. It is the prerequisite for an entirely new way of moving through the world. It is the beginning of sacred doing. Imagine two carpenters, both tasked with building a simple wooden table. The first carpenter works from a place of need. His mind is filled with the anxieties of the world. He thinks of the rent that is due, the mouths he must feed. His focus is not on the wood in his hands, but on the money the finished table will bring. Every saw cut is a bit too fast. Every strike of the hammer carries a subtle tension. He is not truly present with his work. He is in the future, a future filled with worry. He fights the wood, trying to force it into shape, cursing its imperfections. The energy he infuses into the table is one of struggle, of haste, of desperation. At the end of the day, a table stands. It is functional, but it is energetically dead. It is a monument to anxiety. Now, imagine the second carpenter. He begins his work from a place of stillness. Before he makes the first cut, he places his hand on the wood. He feels its grain, its history, its life. He gives thanks for the tree that it was. His mind is not on the payment. His mind is here, now, in this sacred exchange between creator and creation. Every movement is deliberate, a dance. The sound of his saw is a rhythm, not a complaint. The strike of his hammer is firm, but respectful. He is not working on the wood, he is working with it. He listens to it. he honors its nature. He is not rushing to a destination. The journey itself, the act of creation, is his joy. The energy he infuses into the table is one of love, of presence, of peace. At the end of the day, a table stands. It is not just functional, it is alive. It radiates a quiet warmth. It is a monument to presence. You are, in every moment of your life, one of these two carpenters. For years, perhaps a lifetime, you have been taught to be the first. The world calls it the hustle, the grind. It celebrates frantic action born from a deep-seated belief in scarcity. It tells you that you must do more to be more, that your worth is measured by your productivity, by the number of tables you can churn out, regardless of the soul you sacrifice in the process. This is the great deception of the ego-driven world. It is action born from the vibration of lack. I am not enough, so I must achieve. I do not have enough, so I must acquire. I am afraid of the future, so I must control the present. This is the anthem of the first carpenter, and it is the source of the deep exhaustion that permeates our modern world. You can build an empire with this energy, but you will be a prisoner within its walls, for you have built it with the bricks of your own anxiety. The universe does not reward struggle, it responds to alignment. Action from a place of lack can only, by universal law, create more experiences that validate that lack. The success feels hollow, the victory is fleeting, because the underlying frequency of not enough remains unchanged. Sacred doing is the way of the second carpenter. It is action that arises not from a thought, but from a deeper impulse. It flows out of the stillness you have cultivated. It is the natural, unforced movement that follows a state of deep surrender. It is not about what you are doing, but about the state of being from which the doing arises. You can be washing a dish, writing an email, walking through a park, or building a company. The task itself is neutral. The energy you bring to it is everything. To practice sacred doing, you must first let go of your attachment to the outcome. The first carpenter is obsessed with the finished table and the money it represents. The second carpenter is in love with the process of sawing, sanding, and joining. This is the great shift. Can you wash a dish and find the universe in the feeling of the warm water on your hands? Can you listen to the sound of the ceramic plates touching and be fully present with that sound? If you can, you have turned a mundane chore into a profound meditation. You have engaged in sacred doing. Can you write an email? Not with the frantic energy of clearing an inbox, but with the calm intention of clear communication. Choosing each word with presence, feeling the light tap of your fingers on the keys. If you can, you have transformed a task into a ritual. This is not about being slow, it is about being present. Sacred doing can be dynamic, swift, and powerful. Think of a master musician lost in a performance. There is immense action, incredible speed and complexity, but it is all flowing from a place beyond thought. The musician is not thinking about where to place their fingers. The music is flowing through them. They have become a vessel for creation. This is the state of flow, and it is the pinnacle of sacred doing. It is where effort becomes effortless and work becomes play. This state is not reserved for artists or saints. It is your natural birthright. It is the state you occupied as a child when you could play for hours, completely absorbed in your world, with no thought of time or purpose other than the sheer joy of the activity itself. You must unlearn the habits of the anxious mind to remember the wisdom of your own soul. When an impulse to act arises, pause for a moment. Do not judge it. Simply feel it in your body. Does it feel tense, contracted, and heavy? Does it come with a story of fear, of I have to or I should? This is likely the voice of the first carpenter, the voice of the ego. Acknowledge it, thank it for trying to protect you, but do not let it command your hands. Or does the impulse feel expansive, light, and clear? Does it feel like a quiet hum of excitement, a simple yes that resonates from your core? Is there a sense of curiosity and quiet joy associated with it, regardless of the outcome? This is the whisper of inspiration. This is the call to sacred doing. This is the universe inviting you to be the second carpenter. Begin with the small things. Choose one activity, today making your coffee, brushing your teeth, folding your laundry, and Commit to doing it with the full presence of the second carpenter. Let go of the destination. Fall in love with the journey of it. Feel every sensation. Be utterly present. Do not try to do this with your entire day. That is the ego's trap, setting you up for failure. Just choose one small act. Infuse it with holiness through the power of your attention. In doing so, you are not just completing a task. You are rewiring your entire nervous system. You are teaching yourself, at a cellular level, that peace is not something you find after the work is done. Peace is the place from which true work begins. You are proving to the universe that you are ready to co-create from a place of love, not a place of fear. The world does not need more functional, dead tables. It does not need more monuments to anxiety. It is groaning under the weight of them. What the world needs, what your soul craves, is the resonant, living energy of sacred action. It needs the warmth that radiates from the things created with love. It needs your unique present moment dance with life. And so, the question becomes clear. It is not about what you must do, but about who you must be while you are doing it. From this new state of being, the right actions will arise naturally, beautifully, and powerfully. But how do you know which impulse to follow? In the quiet, many voices can arise. How do you distinguish the whisper of inspiration from the lingering echo of fear? To do that, you must learn to use the most accurate navigational tool you possess, a tool that was never wrong. You must learn to consult the compass of the heart. You stand in the quiet space created by surrender. You are willing to become the second carpenter, to allow your actions to flow from a place of presence rather than panic. And in this stillness, an impulse arises. A potential path appears. But almost immediately, another follows. One whispers of expansion, the other seems to counsel caution. One feels like a gentle pull, the other like a frantic push. How do you know which is the voice of sacred doing and which is merely the echo of old fear, dressed in new clothes? To answer this, you must learn to read the most sophisticated navigational instrument in the known universe. You must learn to use the compass of the heart. Within you exist two distinct and beautiful forms of intelligence. The first is the intelligence of the mind. It is a magnificent tool, a supercomputer of immense power. The mind is a brilliant analyst, a strategist, a keeper of records. It remembers every past injury, every perceived failure, every warning you have ever been given. Its primary function, inherited from millennia of evolution, is survival. It creates your reality by referencing the past, by taking what is already known and projecting it into the future. The mind is the cartographer of your life's journey. It possesses all the maps. It knows the safe shipping lanes, the documented hazards, the well-trodden paths where others have gone before. It is logical, linear, and verbal. Its language is reason, proof, and precedent, and because its prime directive is to keep you safe, its fundamental bias is towards fear. It sees the unknown not as an adventure, but as a threat. It prefers a familiar misery over an uncertain joy. We have been taught to worship this intelligence, to make it the absolute monarch of our inner world. But there is another intelligence. It does not shout, it resonates. It does not use words, it uses feelings. It does not operate on logic, it operates on a deep, holistic knowing. This is the intelligence of the heart. The heart is the captain of your vessel. It does not care for old maps. It navigates by the stars, by the feel of the wind, by a wisdom that is imprinted upon it by the universe itself. The heart does not know the past or the future. It knows only the eternal now. Its language is not of should or should not, but of expansion and contraction. Its guidance leads not towards what is safe, but towards what is true. For most of your life, you have allowed the cartographer to captain the ship. The mind, with its maps of fear, has been at the helm, and it has steered you in circles, keeping you in the safe, charted waters of what you already know, even if those waters are polluted with unhappiness. The journey of awakening is the process of a gentle, respectful transfer of power. It is the captain, the heart, calmly walking up to the helm, thanking the frantic cartographer for its diligent work, and then quietly taking control. The mind will not be silent at first. It will scream. As the captain begins to steer the ship towards an uncharted passage that feels right, the cartographer will burst from its room, waving its maps. "Stop," it will yell. "This is madness. There are no records of this route. There could be sea monsters, pirates, catastrophic storms. The maps say to go the other way. It's safer, it's proven, it's logical." This inner turmoil is the feeling of going against your own conditioning. It is the feeling of choosing the heart's truth over the mind's fear. A wise captain does not throw the cartographer overboard. That would be foolish. A wise captain listens to the cartographer's concerns. "Thank you for this information," the captain says calmly. "I will be mindful of potential storms. Your maps are very useful." The mind, when treated as a respected advisor rather than an absolute ruler, begins to calm down. Its data is valuable, its analysis is useful, but it does not make the final decision. The final decision comes from a place beyond data. It comes from the quiet, unshakable yes that resonates in the very core of your being. So how do you learn to read this compass? How do you distinguish its clear signal from the static of the mind? You practice. You begin not with life-altering decisions, but with the small, everyday currents of your life. The first step is always the same: create stillness. You cannot hear a whisper in a thunderstorm. Through your breath, through the practice of observation you have been cultivating, you allow the frantic waves of thought to settle. Then, in this quiet space, you hold a potential choice in your awareness. Let's say the choice is as simple as, should I go for a walk? Or should I stay inside and scroll through my phone? Do not try to think your way to the answer. Instead, bring your awareness out of your head and drop it down into your body, specifically into the area of your chest and stomach. First, gently hold the possibility of staying inside. Without judgment, simply notice the immediate, subtle, physical sensation that arises. Is there a feeling of closing, of tightening, of slight deadness or heaviness? That is the feeling of contraction. That is the language of no. Now, let that go. Take a cleansing breath. Gently hold the possibility of going for a walk. Again, notice the immediate, visceral sensation. Is there a feeling of opening, of lightness, of a subtle lift or expansion in your chest? Does it feel even a tiny bit more alive? That is the feeling of expansion. That is the language of yes. The difference may be incredibly subtle at first, like trying to distinguish two very similar shades of gray. But with practice, the contrast becomes as clear as black and white. This is the compass. Expansion is north. Contraction is south. Your heart is always, always pointing you towards north. It is pointing you towards more life, more truth, more alignment. The mind may then jump in with its arguments. But it's cloudy outside. You're too tired. You'll be more comfortable on the couch. The cartographer is doing its job, referencing its maps of comfort and ease. You must learn to feel the difference between the body's expansive yes and the mind's contracting no, which it often disguises as logic. Practice this with everything. What to eat for lunch, whether to call a friend, which book to read. In these low-stakes choices, you train yourself to recognize the feeling of your inner truth. You build the muscle of trust. As you do, you will find the courage to use this compass for bigger voyages, the career path, the relationship, the city you live in. When you stand at these great crossroads, you will have the skill to quiet the frantic cartographer and listen for the captain's calm, resonant yes. When you begin to live by this compass, you stop outsourcing your authority. You no longer need the world to tell you who you are or where you should go. You have a direct line to the universe's guidance system. The path it charts for you may look strange to others. It may not make logical sense. It will not be a straight line. It will be a winding, beautiful path that leads you not necessarily to what you thought you wanted, but to what your soul actually needs for its own unfolding. And a curious thing happens as you follow this inner guidance. You stop looking for salvation in the grand destinations. The heart's compass does not always point to a dramatic adventure or a mountaintop revelation. Sometimes it simply points you towards the chair by the window where the afternoon sun is falling. It guides you to pause and watch a child laugh in the park. It steers you towards the simple act of making a cup of tea with total presence. Following this compass, you begin to realize that the destination was never a place, but a new way of seeing. You start to find the sacred not in the extraordinary events, but in the ordinary, beautiful moments the heart leads you to. And in these simple moments, you begin to see a reflection of the entire cosmos. You learn how to find the universe in a single grain of sand. As you learn to trust the compass of your heart, a peculiar journey begins. You find that it does not always point you towards what the ego would deem important. It does not lead you on a grand crusade for wealth or fame or even dramatic spiritual experiences. More often than not, it leads you to simple things. It guides you to pause your frantic work to watch the way sunlight filters through the leaves of a tree. It pulls you towards the kitchen to simply stand and inhale the aroma of brewing coffee. It urges you to close your eyes and feel the sensation of a gentle breeze on your skin. And the mind, the cartographer, might become confused. It might protest, "Is this it?" I surrendered. I listened. I followed the feeling of expansion. For this, for a cup of tea, for a moment of quiet. I was expecting thunder and lightning, a parting of the heavens. I was promised awakening. This is perhaps the most subtle and profound barrier on the path. We have been conditioned to believe that truth must be loud, that revelation must be dramatic, that the sacred must be separate from the ordinary. We have been taught to seek a world in the heavens, when the great secret, whispered by poets and sages throughout time, is that heaven can be found in a wildflower. The entire universe can be seen in a single grain of sand. This is the end of seeking, for as long as you believe that enlightenment, peace, or God is somewhere else on a distant mountaintop, in a future state of being, at the end of a long and arduous path you are caught in a trap. The very act of seeking reinforces the belief that you do not already have it. It affirms the illusion of separation. It makes the sacred a destination, and in doing so, you walk right past the fact that it is the very ground beneath your feet. Imagine you wish to see the stars. The ego mind believes you need a powerful telescope, a complex star chart, and a journey to a remote, lightless desert. It is a grand undertaking, filled with effort and expectation. It is a hunt for the stars. But a different wisdom understands that after a simple spring rain, you can walk outside and find the entire, vast, glittering cosmos reflected perfectly in a small puddle on the pavement. The stars were never far away. They were always offering their reflection in the humble, the simple, the overlooked. You just had to stop scanning the distant horizon and look down at what was right in front of you. This is not merely a beautiful poem. It is a literal, physical, and spiritual truth. The infinite is not just reflected in the finite, it is encoded within it. Take a single leaf from a tree. The mind labels it leaf and dismisses it. But if you bring your full presence to it, what do you see? You see a network of veins, a perfect circulatory system that mirrors the rivers of a continent and the arteries in your own body. You see the green of chlorophyll, a miracle of alchemy that transforms pure sunlight into life, a process that powers nearly all existence on this planet. You feel its texture, a map of its life, its struggle, its resilience. In its DNA is the memory of the ancient forests. In its substance is the water from clouds that have traveled the globe. That one leaf is a convergence point for the entire universe. To be fully present with that leaf is to be fully present with everything. The great spiritual work is not to escape the mundane, but to penetrate it so deeply with your awareness that its divine nature is revealed. The reason the world so often feels dull and lifeless is because you are only seeing the labels your mind has placed upon it. You see car, tree, house, work. These are lifeless concepts, placeholders for reality. You are walking through a world of your own mental projections. To awaken is to see beyond the labels. It is to experience the treeness of the tree, the stoneness of the stone. This is a practice you can begin right now. Wherever you are, allow your eyes to rest on a simple object, perhaps a pen on your desk, a crack in the ceiling, the lines on the back of your own hand. For 1 minute, make a silent agreement to not name it. Simply observe it as if you are a being from another dimension who has never seen such a thing before. Notice its shape, its form, its shadows and highlights. See its color not as blue or white, but as a unique vibration of light. Feel its energetic signature in the space it occupies. Do not try to think profound thoughts about it. Simply give it the gift of your complete, undivided, non-judgmental attention. In that space of pure presence, something magical happens. The object begins to shed its ordinariness and reveal its isness, its raw existence. It starts to shimmer with a quiet aliveness. You are not projecting this onto the object. You are finally perceiving what was there all along, beneath the thick blanket of your thoughts. You are seeing a tiny piece of the universe as it truly is, a miracle of form and energy, suspended in the vastness of consciousness. You are seeing the universe in a grain of sand. When you practice this, your entire life transforms. The walk from your house to your car is no longer a boring necessity. It is a walk through a living gallery of wonders. The face of a stranger is not just a face. It is an expression of the same life force that animates you. The taste of water is no longer nothing. It is the taste of planetary nourishment. You stop waiting for life to become interesting. You realize it has been screaming its beauty at you all along, but you were too busy thinking to notice. This is the ultimate fulfillment of the heart's compass. It leads you to these simple moments because it knows that they are the portals to the infinite. It knows that peace is not found in achieving the next great thing, but in discovering the greatness of the thing that is already here. You are not a seeker on a quest for a distant treasure. You are the owner of a treasure room who is finally learning to see the treasure that has always surrounded you. And when you truly grasp this, when you know in your bones that the totality of existence can be experienced in the steam rising from your tea or the sound of the rain, you understand the most profound truth of all. You realize that the power is not in the grain of sand, nor in the wildflower, nor in the cup of tea. The power, the magic, the point of access to all of it, exists in one place and one place only. It exists in the moment of your attention. It exists in the only time there ever is, the single, indivisible, all-encompassing and eternal now. You have followed the heart's compass, and it has led you to the simple, the overlooked, the ordinary. You have held a single grain of sand in your awareness and felt the echo of the cosmos within it. And in this, you have stumbled upon the most profound secret, the key that unlocks every door. The power was never in the grain of sand. The power was in the moment of your attention. The portal to the infinite was never the object. It was, and always is, the now. This is a truth so simple that the mind, in its complexity, will fight it relentlessly. Your entire life, your sense of self, has been built upon the twin pillars of past and future. But what are they, truly? The past does not exist. It is not happening anywhere in the universe. It is a collection of memory traces stored in the neural pathways of your brain, a gallery of ghosts that you choose to reanimate with your attention. The future does not exist. It is a mental projection, a fantasy or a horror story woven from the threads of memory and imagination. It has no reality. It is a phantom. You have spent your life living in two worlds that do not exist, and in doing so, you have missed the only one that ever does. This is the root of all human suffering. Every form of psychological pain you have ever experienced is born from a denial of the present moment. Think of it: guilt, regret, resentment, bitterness, a sense of loss. These are illnesses of the past. They are the poison you drink now, hoping to change a chapter that has already been written. Anxiety, worry, stress, dread, tension. These are illnesses of the future. They are the act of suffering for things that have not happened and may never happen. You are allowing the mind to create a terrifying film and then forcing your body to experience the terror as if it were real. You have been a ghost haunting the graveyard of your past and a phantom chasing mirages in the desert of your future. And all the while, life itself, vibrant, real and whole, has been patiently waiting for you, here in the now. Imagine your life is a book, written and bound in eternity. You are on a certain page, in the middle of a certain paragraph. The mind has a terrible habit. It is constantly flipping back to previous chapters, obsessing over a sentence you wish you hadn't written, a plot twist that brought you pain. It analyzes, it regrets, it judges, but you cannot change a single word on those pages. They are fixed. Or the mind flips forward, to the blank pages that are yet to come, and it scribbles frantically with the pen of anxiety. It tries to control the plot, to avoid all danger, to guarantee a happy ending. But it is writing with invisible ink, a fiction upon a fiction. The only place you can actually read, the only place you can actually live, is on the single page you are on right now. All of your power, all of your aliveness, is concentrated in this one, simple, present moment. To be mentally in the past or future is to be absent from your own life. When you drop into the now, you are not losing anything. You are letting go of illusions to reclaim reality. The first thing you notice is that your problems dissolve. A problem, by its very nature, requires time. It is a mental construct of what happened or what might happen. In the pure, immediate reality of the now, there are no problems. There are only situations. If you are lost in a forest, the problem is a story the mind tells. I'm lost. I might not get out. I'm scared. The situation is, I am here. There are trees. The sun is in that direction. By dropping into the situation, free from the mental story, you can access a clarity and intelligence that is unavailable when you are panicking about the problem. You can act with profound effectiveness. This is the secret of the second carpenter, the master artisan. His power came from his presence. All of his attention, all of his life force was focused on the wood in front of him. He was not dissipating his energy by regretting the last piece he cut or worrying about the next. His power was undivided, and so his action was pure and perfect. When you bring your full attention to the present moment, you bring the full force of your consciousness to bear on whatever you are doing, and the quality of that action is transformed. So how do you enter this space? You do not have to try to be in the now. You are already in it. You can never leave it. The work is simply to notice when your attention has wandered away, and you use simple anchors to call it back home. The first and most powerful anchor is your inner body. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel the subtle field of energy that pervades your hands? A tingling, a warmth, a vibration. It is there. Now feel it in your feet, in your legs, in your arms. This feeling of aliveness inside you is always and only ever happening now. It is your direct personal connection to the present moment. Whenever you feel lost in thought, bring your attention back to the life in your hands. You are instantly present. The second anchor is your senses. The mind deals in abstract concepts, but the senses only know reality. When you are caught in a storm of anxious thoughts, stop. Name, either silently or out loud, 5 things you can see right now. The blue of a cup, the texture of the wall, a crack in the floor. Then, name 4 things you can physically feel. The pressure of the chair against your back, the fabric of your clothes on your skin, the air on your face. Then, 3 things you can hear. Then 2 things you can smell. Then 1 thing you can taste. This simple game forces your awareness out of the non-existent past and future and anchors it firmly in the undeniable reality of your present sensory experience. Your life is not the story you tell yourself about it. Your life is not your past, and it is not your future. Your life is now. It has only ever been now. It will only ever be now. The immense burden of your personal history and the crushing weight of an uncertain future are loads you were never meant to carry. All you are ever required to handle is this one moment. Can you handle this moment? Yes, you are already doing it. You are already here. You are breathing. You are aware. This is it. Let go of the struggle. Let go of the journey. You have arrived. You were always here. Welcome home. And now that you have arrived, what do you find in this space? When you strip away the stories, the labels, the doing, what is the fundamental quality of the now? You find that beneath the surface layer of sounds and sensations, there is a vast stillness. It is not an empty stillness. It is a stillness that is pregnant with all potential, the womb of all creation. It is a silence that is more alive than any noise. You have arrived in the now. You have let go of the phantoms of past and future, and you have stepped into the only reality there is. And here, beneath the constant hum of the world, beneath the surface-level chatter of your own mind, you have discovered a stillness, a profound, deep silence. At first, The mind may find this silence uncomfortable. It may label it as boredom, as emptiness, as a void. The ego, which thrives on noise, on problems, on drama, feels threatened by a space where it does not exist. It equates stillness with death, because stillness is the absence of its own frantic activity. But you must understand this fundamental truth. This silence is not empty. It is full. It is not nothing. It is the womb of everything. It is the potent, fertile, pregnant silence from which all creation is born. Look at the world around you. It is a world terrified of silence. We fill every crack and crevice of our days with noise. We wake up to the news. We drive with the radio. We work with podcasts in our ears. We eat dinner in front of a screen. We fall asleep to the endless scroll. We have become addicts of distraction, junkies of stimulation. Why? Because we are fleeing from the deafening roar of our own unexamined thoughts, and we are terrified of the profound silence that lies just beneath them. We are afraid to be alone with ourselves, because we have forgotten who we truly are. We have mistaken the noise for the music, and the silence for an absence of life. The opposite is true. The noise is a frantic distraction. The silence is life itself, in its purest, most concentrated form. Consider the seed and the soil. If you wish to grow a great and mighty tree, you do not plant an acorn and then frantically dig up the earth every hour to see if it is growing. You do not subject it to constant noise and motion. You plant the seed in dark, rich soil, and you allow it to rest. You give it the gift of stillness. It is in the silent, unseen, mysterious darkness that the miracle of germination occurs. It is in the quiet that the hard shell cracks and the first tender root takes hold. The most powerful act of creation begins in absolute silence. Your consciousness is this soil. For years, you have been relentlessly tilling it with the machinery of anxious thought, worry, planning, and rehashing. It has been a field of constant activity, a place of noise. And you have wondered why no new, beautiful, or divinely inspired things seem to grow there. It is because you have never allowed the soil to rest. You have never allowed for the pregnant silence. All true art, all groundbreaking scientific discovery, all flashes of genius, all profound wisdom, do not arise from the logical, chattering mind. They are not the result of more thinking. They are gifts from the silence. They emerge in the gaps between thoughts. The scientist wrestles with a problem for weeks, and then, in a moment of relaxation, in the shower or on a walk, the solution appears, whole and perfect. The artist stares at a blank canvas, not thinking, but simply being present, and a vision for the first brushstroke arises from the stillness. Inspiration does not come from a place of frantic mental effort. It whispers to you from the space of non-thought. This silence is not something you need to create. You can no more create silence than you can create the sky. It is already here. It has always been here. It is the very fabric of your awareness. It is the background against which all the noise of your life, every thought, every emotion, every sound takes place. You have simply been conditioned to pay attention only to the noise. The practice is to shift your attention, become more interested in the canvas than the painting. How do you do this? You do not fight your thoughts. To fight thought is to create more thought, more noise. You do not try to force the silence. To try to be silent is a contradiction that creates inner conflict. Instead, you listen, but you listen in a new way. You do not listen for something, you listen to the silence itself. Put this into practice. As you sit here, become aware of the sounds around you. The hum of a machine, a distant voice, the sound of your own breathing. But instead of focusing on the sounds, can you become aware of the field of silence in which these sounds are happening? The silence was here before the sound, and it will be here after the sound has faded. The sounds are temporary visitors. The silence is the host. It is home. You can also notice the gaps. Your mind is not a continuous, unbroken stream of thought. There are small spaces, tiny moments of quiet between one thought and the next. At first, they may seem infinitesimally small, but as you begin to notice them, as you place your attention on them without expectation, they begin to expand. Resting in these gaps is like resting in a quiet clearing in a dense forest. The The more you value the clearing, the larger it seems to become. Eventually, you may find that you are resting in a vast, open field of silent awareness, and the thoughts, when they come, are just small, distant clouds. This is not a dead, inert state. This inner silence is vibrant and alive. It is the intelligence of the universe before it condenses into a thought or a form. When you touch this space, you are touching the source code of reality. It is a place of profound peace, but also of immense power. It is the place you retreat to when the world has exhausted you. You dip yourself in this inner silence as you would dip yourself in a healing spring, and you emerge cleansed, renewed, and restored. As you become more comfortable in this space, you no longer fear being alone. You begin to crave solitude, for it is in solitude that you can most easily commune with this deep inner dimension. You are no longer afraid of what might arise from the quiet, because you know that what arises from this stillness is truth, beauty, and an intelligence far beyond the capacity of your personal mind. You have found the source. By learning to rest in this pregnant silence, you align yourself with the most powerful force in the universe, the force of creation. You cease to be merely a product of your conditioning, tossed about by random thoughts and external circumstances. You become a conscious conduit for a deeper intelligence to flow into this world. You become an artist, and the masterpiece you are here to shape, the primary work of art you are here to create, is your own life, your own self. But this artistry is of a unique kind. It does not primarily involve adding more things to yourself, more beliefs, more personality traits, more achievements. The creative power that emerges from the silence works in a different way. It is a process of revelation. It reveals the masterpiece that is already present beneath the rough, unformed surface of the conditioned self. To create your true life, you must first become the sculptor before the stone. You stand now in the silent workshop of your own being. You have stepped into the eternal now, and you have found the pregnant silence that is the source of all creation. It is from this place of potent stillness that the true work begins. But you must understand, this work is unlike any you have been taught before. The world has trained you to believe that self-improvement is a process of addition. Add a new skill, add another degree, add more money, more friends, more positive affirmations, more personality traits. It is a desperate attempt to build a beautiful structure by piling more and more material onto a flawed foundation. The path of awakening is precisely the opposite. It is not an act of addition, but a profound act of subtraction. It is not about becoming someone new. It is about courageously unbecoming everything that is not you. You are not here to build a statue of yourself. You are here to reveal the one that is already waiting within. The great sculptor Michelangelo, when asked how he created his masterpiece David, is said to have replied, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free." This is the secret. You are the sculptor, and your life, with all its conditioning, its fears, and its false identities, is the block of marble. And deep within that stone, a perfect form already exists. A radiant, whole, and magnificent being. Your true self is asleep, waiting to be liberated. Your work is not to create it, but simply to chip away every piece of the stone that is not it. So what is this excess stone? What is this material that obscures the masterpiece? It is everything you have gathered throughout your life that you believe yourself to be, but are not. The densest part of the stone is made of your limiting beliefs. I am not worthy of love. Chip. I must struggle to earn my place in the world. Chip. I am not smart enough, or talented enough, or good enough. Chip. These are not truths. They are heavy, cold layers of stone, adopted from parents, from society, from painful experiences. They have no reality beyond the reality you give them, by believing they are part of the statue. Another layer of the stone is your identity, the egoic self you present to the world, the role of the good son or daughter, the mask of the successful professional, the costume of the spiritual seeker, the persona of the victim or the cynic. These are just surfaces, hardened by years of practice, that you have mistaken for your true face. To begin the sculptor's work is to be willing to let these identities crack, to let these masks fall away, even if the face beneath feels raw and unfamiliar at first. And what holds all this stone together? What is the mortar between these blocks of belief and identity? It is fear. Fear is the guardian of the stone. Every time you pick up your chisel, fear will whisper in your ear, "Don't chip that piece away. That's a supporting structure. If you remove it, everything will collapse." What will people think if they see you carving away at yourself? What if you make a mistake? What if you find nothing underneath? Fear's only job is to protect the integrity of the prison, to convince you that the raw, unformed block of marble is safer than the magnificent, free being within it. So, what are your tools for this sacred work? You have two. Your chisel is your awareness. Your hammer is your courage. When a limiting belief arises, you do not fight it with another belief. You do not try to smash it with brute force. You simply hold it in the light of your non-judgmental awareness. You pick it up, you look at it, you feel its weight. The thought comes, "I'm going to fail at this." Instead of believing it or arguing with it, you apply the chisel of awareness. You ask, "Is this thought absolutely true? Who would I be without this thought? What is the sensation in my body when I believe it?" By illuminating it with your presence, you see it for what it is, not a solid truth, but a transient cloud of energy, a ghost. In the light of this seeing, it loses its density. It becomes brittle. But the chisel of awareness needs the force of a hammer to make the cut. That hammer is courage. It is the courage to act in a way that is contrary to the belief. It is feeling the fear of failure and taking the first step anyway. It is hearing the inner critic tell you that you are unworthy of love and courageously opening your heart just a little wider. It is the conscious, powerful choice to trust the vision of the angel in the stone more than you trust the fear that guards it. Each courageous act is a strike of the hammer. Chip, chip, chip. With each blow, a piece of the false falls away, and more of the true is revealed. This is not a violent process. It is a patient, loving act of liberation. And you must have a third tool in your kit, a polishing cloth of self-compassion. As pieces of your old self fall away, you may feel tender, exposed, and vulnerable. There will be days when the work feels messy and you seem to be making no progress. In these moments, you must be kind to yourself. You must honor the courage it takes to even stand in the workshop. You smooth the newly revealed surfaces with gentleness and love, appreciating the beauty that is beginning to emerge. You do not need a blueprint. You do not need to know what the final form will look like. The sculptor within you, the intelligence of your heart, already knows. Your only job is to show up each day, pick up your tools, and trust the process. Chip away what feels heavy, what feels false, what feels like a lie. Trust that whatever feels light, resonant, true, and expansive is the shape of the angel itself. Follow the grain of your own being. Slowly, piece by piece, a form begins to take shape. As the dust of old belief settles, you begin to see a curve, an outline, a feature you recognize on a soul level. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming more yourself than you have ever been. The work is not to achieve perfection, but to shed imperfection, to let go of everything that is not love, not truth, not you. And as the final layers of stone fall away, you stand back and behold the result. The being that stands before you, liberated from the marble, is not a generic angel or a copy of any statue ever made. It is a form of breathtaking uniqueness. It is a masterpiece that could only have been carved from your specific block of life, with your specific experiences, your specific sorrows, and your specific joys. The form is you, in all your glory. This unique form, revealed from the stone of your conditioning, is your truth. It is the masterpiece only you could unveil. It is your soul's specific frequency made manifest. It is your signature on the canvas of the universe. The dust of the sculptor's workshop has settled. The excess stone lies in pieces on the floor, the discarded fears, the shattered masks, the crumbled beliefs that were never yours. And now, in the quiet, you behold the form that has been set free. Look closely. It is not what you were told it should be. It does not conform to the images you were shown, the ideals you were taught to pursue. It is something utterly original. It is you. For a lifetime, you may have carried a secret shame about this form. You may have felt it was too much of this, or not enough of that. You looked at the other statues in the great gallery of the world and thought, why are my lines different? Why is my expression not like theirs? And so you tried to hide your unique shape, or worse, you tried to recarve it to imitate another's. This is the great tragedy of the human condition, to be given a masterpiece and to treat it like a mistake. Today, that ends. The uniqueness you once saw as a flaw, you must now recognize as your sacred design. It is not an accident. The universe, in its infinite and playful intelligence, does not create duplicates. It has expressed itself as a star, as a river, as a hummingbird, and through the miracle of your birth, it decided to express itself as you. Your specific blend of sensitivities, passions, quirks, and talents is not a random assortment. It is a precise and deliberate composition. It is your signature on the canvas of existence. To understand this, imagine that the universe is a grand symphony orchestra, the creative force of all that ism, call it God, Source, or Li Fei, the great composer. And every single being is a unique instrument designed to play a specific part of the divine score. There are souls who are like the deep, resonant cello, providing a foundation of stability and wisdom. There are souls who are like the bright, soaring violin, expressing ecstatic joy and piercing beauty. There are souls who are the steady, grounding rhythm of the drums, and others who are the playful, whimsical melody of the flute. Now, imagine the absurdity of a flute, looking across the orchestra at the great kettle drums and thinking, the drums are so powerful and important, everyone pays attention to them. I will try to be a drum. The flute then spends its entire life trying to make a deep, booming sound. It contorts itself, it blows with all its might, but all it can produce is a strained and painful noise. It is a frustrating, exhausting, and joyless existence. And the greatest tragedy of all is that while the flute is busy trying to be a drum, the entire symphony is missing the one thing it needs, the beautiful, clear, and essential sound that only a flute can make. For years, perhaps for your entire life, you have been a flute trying to be a drum. You looked at others, your parents, your peers, your idols, and you tried to play their music. You betrayed your own gentle melody in an attempt to replicate another's powerful rhythm. You silenced your own inner song because you were afraid it wasn't loud enough, or grand enough, or important enough. The journey of awakening, the purpose of all the sculpting you have done, is to finally give yourself permission to be the flute. It is to pick up your unique instrument, to learn its nature, to cherish its tone, and to play your music for no other reason than the sheer joy of playing it. What is this music? It is not necessarily your job, or a specific talent like painting or singing, though it can be. Your music is the fundamental frequency of your being. It is your unique way of being in the world. It is the quality of your presence. Perhaps your music is an unwavering compassion that makes others feel safe and seen. Perhaps it is a fierce, unwavering commitment to truth that cuts through confusion. Perhaps it is a playful, childlike wonder that reminds others not to take life so seriously. Perhaps it is your ability to create order out of chaos, or to bring profound beauty to simple things. You know you are playing your music when what you are doing feels less like work and more like play. You know it when time seems to disappear. You know it when you feel a sense of rightness, of flow, of deep and simple joy, even if the task itself is difficult. This is the feedback from the universe, the resonance from the great composer, telling you, yes, that is the note. Play it. The heart's compass you have learned to read always points towards your true music. To unapologetically play your own song requires the final stage of courage. It is one thing to unveil the masterpiece in the privacy of your own workshop. It is another to display it in the world, knowing that some people will not understand it. Some people, who are used to the sound of drums, may find the sound of your flute to be too quiet or strange. They may criticize you or try to convince you to play a different, more familiar tune. This is the final test. You must love your own music so much that the opinions of others become irrelevant. You must be so rooted in the truth of your own expression that you can allow others to have their own without it shaking your foundation. This is not an act of selfish indulgence. It is, in fact, the most generous gift you can give to the world. Your authentic expression is a service. When you, as the flute, finally play your true melody, you create a space for the clarinet to stop trying to be a cello. Your courage to be you gives others the permission to be themselves. The symphony is healed and made whole, not by all the instruments learning to sound the same, but by each instrument courageously contributing its own unique part to the whole. The world does not need another imitation. It desperately needs your originality. It needs the specific note that only you can sound. So your final purpose is simple, though not always easy. To be you. To be so completely, unapologetically, and joyfully yourself that your very presence becomes your art, your contribution, your signature. You are a word in the great poem of creation. You are a brushstroke in the masterpiece of existence. You are a note in the eternal symphony. Stop trying to be another word, another stroke, another note. Simply be the one you were written to be. And as you stand in this profound self-acceptance, playing the music of your soul, a final, even deeper realization may begin to dawn. You have discovered yourself as the unique instrument. You have celebrated its form and begun to play its beautiful music. But is that all you are? Who is it that is aware of the instrument? Who is it that hears this beautiful, unique music being played? Let us take one final step. A step from being the precious instrument in the orchestra to realizing that you are the silent, vast concert hall in which the entire symphony is being played. You stand in the great concert hall of existence and you have finally heard the music of your own soul. You have unveiled the unique masterpiece that you are, your singular signature on the universe. You have discovered your divine purpose, to be yourself, fully and without apology. This is a profound place of peace and joy. And yet, there is one final step, one last turn of the key that dissolves the very door you have just unlocked. The question was asked, who is it that hears this music? Who is it that is aware of this unique and beautiful self? The journey you have taken has been a progressive expansion of identity. At first, you believed you were a character in a story, trapped by the plot, defined by the past, the ego self. Then, you awakened to the realization that you were not the character, but the silent watcher, the consciousness observing the story unfold. This brought a great sense of freedom. From there, you realized you were not just a passive watcher, but an active creator, the sculptor who could shape the stone of your life. This brought a great sense of power. Now, you are invited to take the final step, a step that the mind can barely comprehend. You are not the character, not the watcher, not even the artist. You are the space in which the entire story happens. Imagine for your entire life you have lived in a single room, and you believed you were the furniture. You thought, I am this chair of sadness. I am this table of success. I am this lamp of anxiety. Your life was a constant struggle to rearrange the furniture, to get rid of the ugly pieces and acquire more beautiful ones. Then you had a shift. You realized you were not the furniture, but the person living in the room, the one who could observe the furniture. This was the birth of the watcher. But now, look deeper. Is it possible that you are not even the person in the room? Is it possible that you are the room itself? You are the space. You are the four walls, the floor, and the ceiling. You are the silent, unmoving, and indestructible container in which all the furniture of your life appears. Think about the nature of a room. A beautiful, ornate chair does not improve the room. An old, broken table does not damage the room. A chaotic, messy arrangement of furniture does not scar the room. A minimalist, peaceful arrangement does not heal the room. The furniture is constantly changing, but the nature of the room, its spaciousness, remains absolutely constant and untouched. The room's only function is to allow. It allows the ugly furniture. It allows the beautiful furniture. It allows the mess. It allows the order. It provides the space for it all to be. This is your true nature. The furniture is the entire content of your life experience. The thoughts, the emotions, the sensations, the events. Joy is a beautiful piece of furniture. You can appreciate it, enjoy its presence, but you know you are not it. Grief is a heavy, sharp-edged piece of furniture. It may be uncomfortable to have in the room, but it cannot, under any circumstances, damage the room itself. The room, Your essential nature as awareness is never harmed by the pain. The pain is an experience happening within you, but it is not of you. Failure, heartbreak, sickness, loss, these are simply different kinds of furniture. You have spent your life fearing them, resisting them, trying to throw them out, believing that they could destroy you. But how can a table destroy the space in which it sits? It is impossible. This realization is the end of the war with yourself. It is the end of the frantic search for only good experiences and the desperate avoidance of bad ones. You see that your job was never to be the frantic interior decorator of your life, constantly struggling with the furniture. Your job is simply to be the room, to be the open, allowing, spacious presence that says a silent yes to whatever life brings into it. What are the qualities of this space that you are? It is, first and foremost, silent and still. It is the pregnant silence you discovered earlier. It is the background of quiet that underlies all noise. Secondly, it is boundless. You have thought of yourself as being contained within a body. Look closer. Is it not more true that your body is a sensation happening inside the vast space of your awareness? This awareness has no edges, no center, no location. It simply is. Thirdly, this space is impersonal. This is a difficult truth for the ego, but it is the source of ultimate freedom. The consciousness that is looking through your eyes right now is not your consciousness. It is the same, single, universal consciousness that is looking through every pair of eyes in the world. It is the one awareness experiencing itself from billions of different perspectives. You are not a wave thinking you are separate from the ocean. You are the entire ocean experiencing itself for a little while as a wave. And finally, the nature of this space is love. Not the sentimental, conditional love of the ego, but a radical, unconditional allowing. Because the space does not resist anything, because it allows all furniture, all thoughts, all feelings, all beings to exist within it exactly as they are, its very nature is one of total acceptance. And total, unconditional acceptance is the highest form of love. To live as this space means you can finally live your human life fully. You no longer need to protect yourself from experience. You can grieve with your whole being, because you know that you are the space in which grief can happen without destroying you. You can love with an open, undefended heart, because you know that even if heartbreak comes, you are the unbreakable space in which that heartbreak can be held. You can succeed without it inflating your ego, and you can fail without it crushing your soul, because you know your true worth lies not in the changing furniture, but in the eternal, unchanging nature of the room. The search is over. You were never lost. You were never broken. You were never been complete. You were simply a vast and boundless sky who had fallen into a deep hypnosis, believing you were a single, passing cloud. The journey of this audiobook has been a gentle reminder of your own sky-like nature. This is not a belief to be adopted or a concept to be memorized. The mind cannot grasp it. It can only be known by being it. It is a reality to be rested in, so rest. Rest as the space. Notice the thoughts, the feelings, the sounds arising and passing away within you. You are the silent, loving witness to it all. You are the space for it all. You are, and have always been, free. And so, our time together comes to a close. The words fade, as all forms eventually do. But the journey they have pointed to, the journey into the heart of your own being, is one that never ends. It is the very journey of life itself. You began this path perhaps feeling like an echo in a void, a stranger in your own life, lost in the noise of the world. You have journeyed through the gardens of your mind. You have learned the art of surrender. You have chipped away the stone of your conditioning, and you have arrived here, at the quiet center of everything. Do not try to hold on to all the concepts you have heard. Let them go. They were merely signposts, fingers pointing to the moon. They are not the moon itself. If there is one thing to carry with you, let it be this simple image. You are the sky. Your life is the weather. You are the silent, spacious, and eternal sky. Your thoughts, your emotions, your circumstances, the events of your day, the story of your past, all of it is simply the weather. Some days the weather is sunny and clear, filled with warmth and light. Enjoy these days. Bathe in their beauty, but know that you are not the sunshine. You are the sky that holds the sunshine. Some days the weather will be stormy. Dark clouds of sadness or anger will gather. The fierce winds of anxiety may blow, and the cold rain of grief may fall. In these moments, remember, you are not the storm, you are the sky. The storm cannot harm the sky. It can only obscure it for a little while. The nature of all weather is that it passes. The storm will exhaust its energy, the clouds will part, and the rain will cease. And the sky will be as it always was, untouched, vast, and forever at peace. Do not fight the weather. Simply allow it to be, knowing it is not you. This is the great secret. Your only work is to remember that you are the sky. When you find yourself lost in the storm of your mind, when the winds of fear are raging, do not struggle. Gently bring your attention back to one of your anchors. Feel the simple, steady rhythm of your breath. Feel the silent aliveness in your hands. Notice the stillness that is always present, just behind the noise. These are your pathways home to the sky. This is not a task to achieve, but a truth to return to, again and again. Go now and live this truth, not as a heavy burden of spiritual practice, but as a light and liberating secret, a quiet joy, a silent peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. I am the stillness behind the noise. I am the peace within the storm.